restarted Parsec yet?
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love. But you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome tonight to a lovely game of CEA Siege on the open side of the bracket. Tonight, I am Keldev, and I am joined by the lovely Coinman.
Hello!
And we get the pleasure of watching, I believe this is the round of 8, which is leading into the semifinals for the winner. And tonight we have Michigan Tech University versus Florida International University. Both these teams fought tooth and nail to get to where they are now, and at this point they're just trying to take it home to get themselves into semifinals and get one step closer to that lovely crown of the champion of CEA Open. Any predictions for tonight, Coinman?
I can't personally make any predictions. I've only seen Florida International play. But based on the maps we've seen, they did pick Villa last time, and that was a very good map for them. I believe the scoreline was 7-4. And then for the second map, which is Michigan Tech's pick, is Clubhouse, which is a very interesting pick to say the least, because from what I remember, I've not seen Florida International play in Clubhouse at all. So that will be a very big test about their map breadth in terms of how that particular aspect goes. Because being able to go deep on your map pool is something especially important now that we're doing best of 3 instead of just one map. So you have to be significantly deeper than you would normally during the regular season to be able to succeed in the single elimination bracket.
Yeah, for sure. And Villa is definitely a map too that you don't really get to see that often, as it's a lot of people's ban favorite. And honestly, I'm looking really forward to seeing some gameplay onto Villa, see if get some nice strats, as we have seen in the past with some, nice little sight lines opened up from above and below. Then you got some stuff with like, I believe it's in the hallway outside of pool. You can shoot the floor around there. As classical hall. There we go. And you shoot the floorway there, and you get to the sight onto the front door. Stuff like that. Just love seeing strats like that come out and shine really well, especially with deployment shields being the way they are, being able to cover quite a bit. Going to be interesting to see how these teams will be able to answer to different strats such as those ones. And of course, I personally haven't really seen either of these two teams play, but that always means that today will be first, and I have zero expectations. Therefore, everything will now amaze me. Always a fun time, you know.
Yeah, and I do find it interesting that Villa is still within the schema of these maps for even for Pro League, which recently put in theme park. It still is the new map, which I find kind of funny, and that's why it's the ban heavy one, even though technically the newest map is Cafe.
Yeah, like everyone always says, like, oh yeah, no one likes Villa because it's the newest, but yeah, technically Cafe is the newest. The only reason why you could say it's not really newest is everyone has like that comfort to it, but realistically speaking, the entire map did get pretty much changed entirely, because although you do have like some similar like setups that people would have from the old old Cafe to the new Cafe, it honestly ended up getting played almost the exact same. Just bunker down kitchen, for example, have a little bit of light room above. I don't think like that aspect of it changed that much, and that caused people to kind of favor it a little bit more. But Villa, I think at this point, it's been in the rotation long enough to at least get some light, have people a little bit more prepared to fight on it, and I'm looking forward to see how Villa comes out to shine as time progresses, especially with I do believe we're now allowing like Kali and Wamai to be played too. So
yes, we are, and I expect
that
a lot of Kali. Or sorry, not Kali. I mixed them up. A lot of Wamai, as that is a bog standard. At least it was in Pro League when Pro League was still going on. As we are currently in the break in between seasons.
yeah, and Wamai definitely a very very strong operator, because he's like the only one that can counter Capital.
Yes,
There's
he
no one
also
in the game that can
has
counter him.
he also has, I believe, the only actual AR on the defense. Don't quote me on that. I do believe that he's the only one with an actual AR because he has the AUG.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that one. And I think we should be heading in soon, as we do. I do believe we have both teams ready at this point. I'm not too sure, but just stall for a little bit more time, of course, in case anyone's curious. For the bans of this map, or for this set, we had Florida International start off the bans with Border. Michigan Tech responded back with the bank ban. Then, of course, we picked. Florida International picked Villa first, starting defense, with Michigan Tech picking Club, starting defense as well. And then for the next set of bans, since we're on to this format now for playoffs, the next bans were Consulate and Cafe, respectively, leaving Coastline as our decider. Very fun map to watch, as it's generally, Fragger heavy, and a very fun map to play, at the very least, if you're going really fast and trying to just zoom into objectives and take people down, as the map's a giant donut, You only really gotta go forward or go backwards. There's no left, or there's no like third option, really.
I'm personally very excited because we do not have infinite overtime here, which means that we won't be seeing 26 rounds of Coastline if we get that far, which is A plus personally.
Yeah, I think we need the infinite overtime to come in. It's nothing is more fun than starting a game of Siege at 9 o'clock and then finishing it at 4 a.m. the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I believe that Pro League final, that first game was 3 hours or something.
Yeah, the scoreline was like 20 something, like 19. I think, like that.
27. It was 27 rounds total, and we see a Thatcher ban coming out first, which means that people actually have to enter the building to get rid of those walls. In specifically gaming and map room, which is makes people more aggressive.
a thermite ban actually coming out. I'm actually a little bit surprised by that, as I would actually probably argue that Hibana's probably the stronger breacher in this map, as you know, in order to breach walls in this map, you would have to take your thermite, walk up to the wall. Of course, you get impact trick, you could get C4 from below, and you also have like a number of strategies for the defenders to kind of counter a thermite. Gonna be a little bit interesting as we now are kind of forcing everyone to just pick Hibana or of course the Maverick, which is even more dangerous in some situations. So it'll be a little interesting to see how that gets played out here. And Echo, of course, getting banned. The bog standard ban, of course, where no one wants to just deal with getting concussed at the final 5 seconds because he didn't clear out the Echo earlier. It's always something you really don't want to have to fight.
And I do find Mira being the last offensive ban rather interesting, as Mira is not particularly great on most of the sites on this map. So I think that's more of a comfort ban than anything else is what I'd say. Because the only place where Mira gets any realistic utility would be in the basically only the second floor like gaming map site. As the other two sites don't really give very many opportunities for Mira to be used. Because, for instance, on the statuary side, you're going to be holding Astro. So by holding Astro, that kind of makes Mira kind of useless, as there's no wall to put your Mira in Astro. So as we move into 6-pick, as they're going Dining Kitchen as their first defensive round with a clash. Oh boy, we've been having fun.
Yeah, they're really trying to flex out their wide variety of strats here. Some teams have been going actually Dining Kitchen first. It's really good at throwing people off, just because it's such a completely different site. As generally speaking, you're expecting something like Aviator or Trophy first, and that's the second floor site. So you're thinking, okay, let's bring. We don't need a sledge, we could probably just bring a buck, maybe IQ, stuff like that. Then you go first floor, and it's like, well, maybe that soft breach would have been a really good idea, because then we could just start destroying up the ceiling. And looking at the team, the side from Florida, they did bring a sledge, so they will get a little bit of reward out of that, as they will be able to get that verticality going if they do get the top floor control. And of course, IQ, Hibana, staple operators of any single attack op at all, really.
Yeah, and I think that was a smart pick to do Sledge in this particular instance, as I do believe the patch did drop, because Buck does not now have frag grenades. You can quote me if that was that happened or not.
That is correct.
Yeah, so that means that we'll likely see Mozzie pick slightly less now because he doesn't have the super shorty anymore, among other things. And also, point aside, I am very surprised on the defensive side to see no Intel denial operators.
Yeah, actually, you would think, usually you'd have a little bit of Intel denying, just for the sake of slowing down the attack. And especially with the game like this, where just being able to drone is such a big portion of this game itself, and a big part of it, and removing that ability from the attackers really cripples them. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they are able to adapt without it, or not utilize it at all. And as you can see, they are bringing a little bit of anti-grenades, and some vision as well, using the Legion and the Valkyrie, as they start to use all that droning power on the top floor. Let's see if they'll get countered.
Yep. As we see entry into the top floor here, it looks like they're going to be taking Master Bedroom first, as it's pretty normal, but especially with the Sledge here, they're going to get a lot more utility out of that hammer than they probably suspected originally. As we see here, Spittle CJ and Boomer getting caught, as someone has already entered site. Ash is in site in B, and I don't think there's really anyone there to contest that, as Legion whips around the corner and gets got by Santa. Oh boy, J-Man getting got by that, as they're trying to get the clash through the roof here, and as Santa gets a double kill off the Boomer, and CJ manages to get Jan here, and the pistol whip coming out from Santa here, cleaning in house inside side as there against TK, and now we're in a 1v3 here with the Jaeger coming in the backside and unable to finish the round.
Yeah, the classic strat of whenever you don't know how exactly you want to attack a site, or in general of just trying to throw at the enemy like around one, is just walk on site. Like, honestly, first 5 seconds, no one's expecting you to walk straight into site. Most teams, they'll start prepping for like anti-roam, prep, all that, and they'll start playing very loose in the roam. And then, once they're playing a little bit far from site, just by rushing in and walking in sight that quickly, you are probably throwing them off entirely, because then they're trying to decide whether or not, should I go back to site now? I mean, like, there's one already on site, but we have like 3 anchors. They're going to be fine. And then you just start seeing that number count down, 5, 4, 3, and suddenly it's just all on you to already be on site at the point. Really good play from Florida, just to start off this round with a nice rush. Santa just finding the hole in the defense and walking straight in. You could really tell too, because by the time we actually did get a perspective of him, there was still a legion coming in from behind, and I believe it was probably around the living room library side. And yeah, you just have the entire team trying to collapse all around him. He ended up taking quite a bit of good frags before dying too. Really well played.
And I think there's also an interesting point to be made here that specifically with that attempted first floor hold, there was a fair amount of people just not being on site. So there were realistically only 2 anchors on site. And as you notice, the Clash was actually looking the other way when the Ash came in. So that points to me that they were prepping to try and see people coming in from Hatch as they saw the people in Master Bedroom. And then suddenly Ash was just on site, as I don't believe anyone else actually entered site. So yeah. I think it was just the Ash that incidentally got in from the first floor. And that was a very critical hole in that defense. As we're seeing a pretty standard hold upstairs with a Bandit this time around, just throwing his charges around. It is somewhat safe unless the Maverick gets nice up and close with all of your friends and walls there. And that hatch is kind of fun. How many people do you think are going to fall down that hatch by accident this round?
I'm going to guess at minimum 1. Like, they're always... Actually, it looks like CJ's already prepping for it, as he's just hiding in that corner there, using whatever camera footage he can get from the Valkyrie to figure out when he needs to just jump out, and he probably will use as a rotate if he decides to sit there for long enough. Looks like we're going to get some little shots from the window, but unfortunately not seeing anyone, as Mod will catch one on the other side of the map, over on the side of Trophy Statuary. So get some gadgets getting rid there, as Santa tries to push up, but gets taken down by his C4 from Red. Really well played there, as I don't think they really had to ping too hard for that one, but I could be wrong about that one.
No, I believe that they heard it from downstairs, and that may or may not have been pre-placed. I'm not entirely sure based on where he was running. It also could have been throw. That's entirely possible. So now we see here the IQ coming around 90. Let's see if they can find all the party makers here, as Menti manages to get CJ also in bathroom, trying to get that solid flank. And now we're in a 4v3 situation here, as the band is just holding tight on that window there, maybe trying to think of a jump out, possibly.
And some drone work coming in from Mod here, as he tries to figure out for his team how they want to approach this. Looks like they're going to use a grenade to get rid of that nice Maestro cam. Cooked it nice and perfectly just to blow up right at the perfect time. Use the other one just to get rid of that nice little bandit charge, allowed Bonnet to breach. And there's no ADS, so it'll go through. As Red will go through Menti's head right before he gets anything going as well. And it looks like he's now going to be trying to play down that classical hall, see if he gets some shots onto Mod here, who's watching the angle vigilantly. The walls are opening up inside Vault. It's time for the party, as Lyrid gets the kill on J-Man. And down, some shots going straight across from Red all the way into, I believe that is Lyrid. Health is very low, but he looks like he will catch him, as well as Mod catching Boomer at the very end there. Really well played from the side of, I believe that is Florida again.
Yeah, and we're at an interesting point right now where we're noticing a couple things where the anchors are not necessarily prepared for people to enter site. They are very good when people are outside of site, but once they get into site, they're not entirely sure how to rotate around that. So in that particular instance, we saw Vault being open, and as soon as someone came into Vault and had sight lines through Vault, that's when it fell apart. Even though Red was doing a very good job of cleaning up the outside and rotating far enough around to be able to give the defense the original starter advantage and is very good with picking his gunfights, the defense here needs to... We'll see how they adapt into sightlines being made that they are aware of. Because in that particular case, they knew that that sightline was being made because they heard the frag grenade, they heard the Habana go off. So it's a matter of being able to have the awareness to adapt to that circumstance. And we'll see if they'll be able to do that here.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to adapt a little bit by bringing in the smoke this time, as I don't believe there was a smoke on the last round. So it's going to be able to at least shut down a couple of the entrances onto site. If they're able to get the smoke off perfectly in time, and probably help out their situation of denying entry into site so freely. Probably a good pick, especially with the shotgun too, and allow himself to play into short angles and just immediately stop anyone from entering, as those shotguns are definitely something to be afraid of when you're entering in a very close distance area.
Yep, and now we are going to see if, and notably Red is now off of the Bandit. Red is now being a little bit different, playing the Valkyrie again, so it looks like the TK and Red switched both of them being C4 operators, though the gun being moderately less impactful here, to be entirely honest. So it'll be a very interesting choice to see if they chose a swap because Red picks his gunfights better and is able to take people's heads off a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, for sure. Ooh, and the round looks like the round's just starting to kick off as we got some drone work coming to the attack, trying to figure out where they are. Looks like they're opting to enter in through the front door this time around and try to push up as we already have IQ pushed up into study. And oh my goodness, CJ gets a nice double kill before getting taken down by Mod. Really good trade for him as he took down the hard breach and the sledge off of the board. That's two very good operators, as now they're going to have a little bit more trouble trying to get to those Maestro cams, although they still do have the Ash charges, but that just makes them that much more expensive if they do lose it to an ADS, as Red is still just lurking below, using his cam footage and his teammates' callouts to figure out when's the optimal time to throw a C4 at him again and get another kill. As we looks like we have Mod just trying to walk into sight, but just trying to pick between two different people to peek and shoot first. Couldn't decide 100%, and unfortunately will get taken down upon entry. Minute 30 seconds left on the clock, and we're in a 2v4 situation.
Yeah, now we're at an interesting point here where the people aren't together, and they have to be very careful about how they aggressively peek things to be able to try and coordinate an attack. So it looks like Nomad is going down classical hallway just to try and gain some moderate advantage here, as I don't believe they know exactly where the Nomad is, and it looks like they may or may not have just cleared out that Maestro cam. I couldn't exactly tell what happened there.
Yeah, ooh, looks like the entire hall is just filled with barbed wire. They're gonna see the Maestro, or use the Maestro cam to get a little bit of intel, as well as Santa gonna use his gun to get the head of TK right there. Ooh, down he goes as Red tries to get the re-entry, and Boomer just gonna stop Menti from being able to walk in altogether. And MTU is gonna bring it back here as they get this nice defense round. Yeah, it looks like this time Florida just wasn't able to really get on site as easy as they were before, and Michigan Tech really started adjusting toward how they were pushing, and it really ended up paying off. Where even though like Santa got in sight, we still have TK around the side just getting ready to re-enter and catch him off guard right at the perfect moment. And it looks like they're gonna actually swap from going into statue all the way into kitchen now. Gonna take this repeat, as it might actually pay off quite a bit, as generally with a 1-2 score line, you may expect, okay, they're probably going to go with more safe picks and try to get more rounds before doing anything too crazy. But you know what? Just get the crazy done and over with now, as generally speaking, you're going to want perfection, so you're going to have to go to the site anyway, so why not just go now? No? Problem solved.
Yep, and now we see the Mozzie being taken out here, as I was going to mention before. It seems like they got a really decent rotate up red stairs, I believe, based on where the location of that Ash was. And that was a very smart for movement. So now Michigan Tech has an idea that, Florida International doesn't exactly check all of their angles, or at least watch them, at least in the early parts of the round, especially when they take these particularly easily. As you saw, they came very easily in through Master. So that means they weren't exactly checking their angles particularly well, and that's how CJ was able to get the advantage in that round, so that no extra sight lines could be made. So now we're going to be ended up, as we said, going downstairs, and let's see what Red can do with his fancy placed cameras, as it seems like they like the idea of Red staying on the Valkyrie here. And there is no Bandit, but a Mozzie.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious to see if we're going to see Santa just rush into sight again, as it looks like they're putting a little bit of pests around just to make sure that even if he does try to drone himself in before going in really quickly, he's going to be very limited on the information he's going to have before rushing in. Nice little setup from the defenders here as they're trying to hold off the living room side, as this is a pretty good foothold for them to get. Looks like you're just going to quickly just scan his drone just to see if anyone's in the immediate area. Won't detect anyone, even though there is a Valkyrie hiding in the other room, as well as CJ just being prone here in Bicycle and our Mudroom here, as they start to push up as they hear the sound of the window being open. There's some shots, CJ actually taking in some damage, as well as Santa being left at very low from that engagement. It looks like they're just taking pot shots through the window at this point and trying to see if they could take one of each other down. As CJ looks like he's just going to opt to go back to site, as Mod is going to take down Boomer right there, as he is just playing a lot more of a faster rate, already being inside Memorial.
Yeah, but it looks like they're actually getting more advantage gunfights here, as Mod took about half his health off as well. As we have a few more people on site checking for that Ash, as they've noticed, as they see all the ADS is being taken out by the Ash's flash grenades here, and we'll see exactly how they do the approaches. We see 3 people trying to enter from that side as Red manages to take out Santa, who is on low health, while he's on the rotate. And now Red is checking the bottom of Red stairs. The CJ manages to get Jan as well, as Jan pushed into the front side, the west side of the kitchen unit.
Yeah, minute 30 seconds, or minute 20 seconds left on the clock. They're going to start making their push probably a little bit more faster now, especially with the pace that they've been going at. They've been going pretty quick, all things considered. As Menti going to try to walk up the staircase. Red going to take down Mod. Leary going to take down Red. We still got hold coming in from TK, just holding that staircase, waiting for, I believe that is Menti to come up. It looks like he's going to rotate onto the other side and play with his teammate, allow themselves to push on together, as I do believe he is. They're all a lot of utility at this point, except for Lyrid, who does have 2 drones remaining to use with it right before they set up for this push, as it looks like they're going as a little bit of a split here. Menti going to take down the head of J-Man, and it looks like Lyrid going to try to follow up and come in behind as the drone work starts getting done a little bit, trying to figure out what they do and don't have left alive. Looks like injury tries to happen here, but CJ just gonna catch both of them, trying to run in and catch the head of Laird and the body of the other one.
Yeah, and it was interesting to
note. That was a collateral.
Huh. I guess they were entering from the same side, but there was an interesting point to note there that the Habana did still have 3 stun grenades that were not used. And I think that is an interesting note there, as they did burn out the ADSs. I think it would have been worth at least trying to throw one. Even though you would have run out of time, then they would have known what side you were coming from.
Yeah.
But at least just giving it a shot, especially with 30 seconds left. Because if that went off, that may have been incredibly, potentially useful. Even though CJ was behind the table there around B-bomb, or A-bomb? I don't know. The bomb in that room right there, where the record player is. I don't know how effective that would be, as things get a little funky once you hit semi-penetratable surfaces and flashes.
Yeah, and you can see there on the UI too, Lyrid also did have the 2 drones left too, so definitely could have used a little bit more time on droning, but we'll see how they're able to recover off of that last round. As we are heading into our next site, which is going to be Trophy Statuary, with the similar lineup, except this time, you know what, let's bust out the Goyo. Of course, we still got the recent nerf in, where he only has 2 shields instead of 3, which honestly makes a lot more sense realistically, because those shields do honestly potentially more work than a mirror shield could ever. Because in some cases, like, yeah, a mirror shield could look scary just by existing, but at the same time, imagine, you know, you shoot out that mirror shield and it's open, now it's just a hole.
Yeah.
These shields, they burn. You shoot them, they stop you from being able to walk into that area for a certain amount of time. So if you don't bring enough soft breach and you don't clear out those ADSs protecting them, you're going to end up wasting a lot more utility on trying to get rid of a Goyo shield than you are a mirror window, and also stall yourself out for even longer due to the burn. And very scary operator to be fighting, and really interesting to see how they're able to capitalize on that time that's going to be stalled.
Yep. So I do have to note, when do you... What was I going to say with Goyo? The last thing, that the reason why they went down from 3 to 2, it's like when Bandit had an extra barbed wire randomly for a while, right? It's the same kind of idea. Why would they ever have more of the same utility than anyone else, even though it is the ability per se, right? It's just one of those really odd things. And that's a weird angle I haven't seen before. Oh boy, I didn't know you could rappel and check through that door from there. Today I learned. And it looks like they got a Goyo that way too, which is a really hot take there. Pun not intended.
And really good use, as well as it's going to be able to just allow them to be able to push in that a lot more sooner. As, you know, 2 minutes left on the clock, burning a shield now does not harm the attackers whatsoever, as the drones are going forward, and we see Mod just pushing in from behind, using that scanner, trying to figure out where any ADSs are and whatnot, see if you catch anyone on by surprise. It looks like we're going to be having a little bit of push, and CJ not really looking in the right direction for it, but we'll see if he's able to flick on the last second there. Lyrid is going to lose his other drone as well, and now just be on his last drone. It looks like Santa going to catch out the head of Boomer here, as Santa actually will end up going down, but could withstand if he decides to go for it, as there is some shots going across the hall. Looks like he withstands and just jumps out the window, trying to reload and recollect himself, as the leash is just going to hide in the corner here, making use of those goo mines, as now Santa's going to have to be very careful of them. Shots going left and right, as Santa, and I believe that is the Jan right there, firing those shots into the door. CJ going to take down Mod from this side of Master Bedroom on the flank here. Looks like some shots going onto that deployment shield's gonna burn them out before the actually stopping CJ from being able to push back in immediately. Santa with the low health gonna get that one tap onto the head there. Red gonna take down Lyrid. Santa gonna take down another one on Red. He's just getting so many with 1 HP, and it looks like he's gonna catch even more as they try to crawl into sight. But Chan gonna turtle or snake right in there and catch him. And looks like FIU gonna make use of that situation as Santa 1 HP and hope that withstand. And I think he just killed like what 3-4 people.
That was a 4K off of withstand. And what the saving grace was, I don't know if you caught it. The goo mine that was thrown to get him was actually shot in the air.
Oh.
So
that is
very fortunate circumstance that I forget who it was, but whomever rotated out through that side window managed to shoot the goo in the air, which saved their friend Santa and ended up winning the round. And Santa got a 4K off of being withstanded, or 3 kills off of withstanding, which is a pretty good ratio there. As now we're going back to Aviator games. Here we have a Jaeger, Bandit, Maestro, Smoke, and Valkyrie with unlikely to 6 pick, as I do believe all of them are chosen. It is mildly annoying that the Bandit photo, or the Bandit portrait headshot, the giant earmuff he has for his headset goes through the check mark, so you can't really tell if you're casting if it's checked or not.
You know, generally when you pick a Bandit, you're not really gonna 6 pick off because you always need some form of integration. Once you bring a Kaid or thinking of bringing a Kaid at the same time, you know, probably wouldn't. I think that someone's gonna bust it out of nowhere. Looks like we have a little bit of a setup here on the behind bar as we have a deployment shield, and actually it's a little, yeah, I was gonna say it's a bit odd of a deployment shield. This is left in the middle there. Not be able to capitalize too much off the defenders. Looks like he's just gonna opt to move it toward the door, and actually that might be a little bit scary for them if anyone's holding on to that area, because that anyone on attack could actually just crouch walk up to it and use the same angles that the defense could theoretically use against them, and might actually end up hurting them more than it helps. But we'll see how that comes into play, as well as actually just play like a giant game of whack-a-mole right on by that shield. Just keep popping up and down the shield and using it as cover. It's actually very scary for the defenders. We'll see how that works out, though.
Also, an interesting side note here, this is also the first game I've seen with Jaeger being a 2-speed. Also, I do hear pre-play C4. That one got immediately caught out by the IQ, unfortunately.
He walked into it as he was shooting. This man was really ready to risk it, as just like, okay, if you see a C4 on the floor as an IQ, I don't think your first reaction is gonna be, let me just walk on top of this and then shoot it, you know? It's a little risky. Risky there, Mod.
And I do believe that was Valkyrie C4 in this particular case. So they still have one more C4 left here. And that one's unfortunately on site still. So it looks like they're doing a 4-man hold with only Red offsite, as he was rather effective in doing his offsite roam last time. I put the Jaeger as functionally on site.
Yeah, it looks like they got control of Trophy Statuary now. They're going to start making their push onto Classicals. We already have Sludge just shoring that entire side. Probably Sludge down that Maestro cam that you placed there. And it looks like, oh my goodness, he's going for the long distance grenade into Vault. Looks like the ADS did manage to take it down before he could really get too much damage dealt with it. But at the same time, there isn't really any anti-breach on the other side. But unfortunately, it won't catch him TK, as CJ will catch Jan instead with the headshot, as I believe he possibly may have just ran out there.
Yeah, it looks like he just kind of ran out from what I can tell. As you look at that rotation where he was, I do believe that he ran out onto balcony, ran out, and then ran back in downstairs. As Santa manages to get Red here, and to get the trade here, as Lyrid is down by Red, it seems, and they're now going to get Lyrid back up here. So it looks like Michigan Tech now has the slight health advantage, as they now have to rotate with 48 seconds left. Is the Smoke finally doing Smoke's job, and maybe that shotgun doing some work here.
Yeah, this is a really bad situation for Florida, as you just have 3 anchors and a Smoke entirely to stop them. CJ with the opportunity to come for a flank. It looks like he will. He gets Mod and J-Man will take down Lyrid. Florida just left on 2 members left, 1 in sight, but will he be able to get kills? No, he will not, as Santa will get taken down upon entry. And now we just have Menti, last man alive. No utility left on the board. It looks like CJ just will get the long shot from afar onto his head, and Michigan Tech will win this round.
Yeah, that was a very quick turnaround. So from what it looks like and what we've been seeing a lot is if they can't breach site, which is what has happened because there isn't enough time left, then Michigan Tech is very good at preventing the take. They're very good that if things work out in quotes anyway, they know exactly what to do to prevent the quick take, and that's exactly what they did and executed on here. So I'll be curious about how they'll be able to deal with that if... Ignore what I'm saying because the side switch, so it doesn't particularly matter anyway. I love analyzing things that don't actually matter. Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah, and I'm just going to note this here. Florida getting the 3-3 on attack, especially on a map like Villa, I would say it's a pretty good lead to get off the bat. As some people would love to argue that this map, well, the entire game is defender-sided. So, you know, just being able to get this one portion of the, that much of a lead off of a defense-sided map, especially with the amount of roaming potential this map has, really good start in terms for Florida, and they're going to be able to try to take this lead and, take it a little bit further as they get some defense advantage here.
Yeah, so this, at least right here at the half here, is favoring Florida International just because it is such a heavily defensive map. And that is a Maestro placement that we did not see come out from Michigan. So that watches Astro and Statuary. 5 seconds to go. Cool. I'd be very curious to see about what your actual sight lines are from that when we get around to that.
And it looks like we will be seeing a return of the Goyo again, as well as the impact grenades. Might be able to get a little bit of an impact trick onto the wall, especially when they don't really have any bandit or arcade bring. So it's going to come into some use, especially you see right there. They already have a little bit prepped there. Except I think if they go to the far left wall and plant as low to the ground as possible, they are completely safe from being able to get impact tricks with the way that top part is opened up at its current state. And you can see, looks like the attackers are going to be opting to take towards study side, which we did see in the beginning was reinforced off the bat from the mod, I believe it was, as Red is going to instead opt to go in from the lower floor and see if he gets some verticality done with that breach charge as he just runs down the hall with it. Going to open up the floor, see if he gets some nice shots in. I don't think he really caught anyone from above with it too much. Using those flashbangs and drones actually to be able to sniff out any of the defenders roaming on this side, and they know for sure at least someone's playing on the side of the map.
Yeah, because we have 3 people now move in, or at least trying to move into map room here. Someone is just checking the side here, and Modded manages to get CJ here as rotate back into site here. And that was a very, very good quick pick, and then to waste time and then rotate back in as we see the Ash here now coming to the map. And Modded taking the wide peak again here as Red comes to challenge. And I don't think that Modded will try and take that risk again here as we have a minute 30 left in the round.
Yeah, looks like Red gonna try to push up here as Mod gonna jump actually down into the skylight, try to flank onto the red staircase there, and be able to hopefully catch some of the defenders off guard. And I think I do believe Mod still does have his nitro cell to be able to capitalize on that situation. Ooh, some drone work coming out. Gonna ping them out and see if he can catch them with the C4, but it looks like Red is just gonna back over to the side onto the safe part and keep himself safe. And using that information of the C4 being tossed, gonna back himself up as TK looks like he's gonna come into some contact with Mod here as he is just sitting in the corner of the hall, but Red just jumps out from the hall and takes him down before he can get anything started. Santa gonna take down J-Man. Jan gonna take down Boomer, and now we just have a 2v3. Still, things looking like it could go either way as the diffuser is not left that far from sight, but it looks like, I do believe that was Red trying to push onto the other side of the site. Gonna see if he gets some shots in, but as he realizes the diffuser on the side, gonna cross over. Will Jan get the shot from the diffuser as he does land a couple hits, throwing a C4 out instead. Doesn't get a kill, but will down for sure as we have TK last man standing after Santa finishes off Red. And now TK just going to have to bring this one back for his team. Santa just going to be peeking down the staircase and take him down from the corner of the holographic site of TK.
I will say that Red did a reasonable job of scaring the bejesus out of whomever was sitting in bar at the time, as the Ash round did blow up about 4 feet from where they were or less. So good on them for that. But that attack round definitely was as we'd expect, heavily defender side, and they were pretty much expecting that kind of push and were very heavily prepared for it. I will note that Michigan did take reasonable contingencies. It just didn't end up turning out the way they wanted it to, unfortunately.
And it looks like we're going to be heading into Aviator Games as we enter into the start of the Wamai picks, as well as Maverick as well. Going to opt to be burning some walls over, just trying to go for a straight up Hibana setup. Would probably pay off quite dearly, as we do have Mute being brought out here, and Mute would just entirely stop the Hibana, and it would be kind of focus things more on the IQ and Buck to clear out any of that gadgets from below. So Maverick definitely going to be a good operator to pick, and I don't think, let's see, 1, 2 C4s could potentially get lobbed over, as if they do shotgun like the top part of that reinforcement, you technically could lob a C4 onto the right angle and catch any Mavericks trying to burn it, but of course a little bit more difficulty with it, and I do believe the Mozzie should be roaming, so they actually in reality only got one good attempt at trying to land something like that. See if they actually do set up for it, or if they just opt to let him burn it and just kill the map as he's burning it and kill the cover.
Yeah, it's one of those things where there is a clip of me doing it once. It's really hard, especially after it's been bucked or something, to throw a C4 in between that roof gap properly and actually landing it right on the other side. I think when I ended up doing it, there's a clip of it somewhere, it went a good, it would have gone from the top all the way over to where the desk is.
Yeah.
There's no good way to get it clean short with a map.
You have to clip it onto the ceiling, I believe, and then just blow it up while it's above him. That way, the impact goes downwards and still catches him with just the same radius as it would if it was beside him. Might potentially leave him a little bit alive depending how backed up he is from it, but it's probably your better bet if you're going to throw that nitro cell.
Yep, as nitro cells do not bounce, which is probably a very good thing.
Yeah, if nitro cell bounced, that would be a bit of a... It would throw off this entire game, and everyone would start sitting there complaining in chat that their nitro cell bounced off the person's head and stuff like that. Oh boy. Looks like we're going to get some drone work coming in onto the side of Study, just kind of playing more direct rather than go for the longer angle that TK might potentially go for, as he is on the other side actually they're on the side of the building there. But they're just going to try to play more directly onto the side of Study, get some drone work, push in from this side, and take classical Hall. 90 Hall might be a little bit of pain for them to push in from the side, but it doesn't look like anyone's playing on that angle per se just yet. Jan has the opportunity to rotate himself there and get that angle, but all things considered for the attack, not a bad approach so far.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yep, and now it looks like the Hibana getting real tight as they manage to get in there. It looks like they're throwing frags over to try and stop anyone from tricking of any flavor. And it looks like they are trying to impact trick here. And I don't believe it succeeded by the looks of it, or he's about to do it. And he doesn't get it. It looks like he hit it on his side of the wall instead of right on the peak side of the wall. So now they have a very nice large hole into sight.
Yeah, a little unfortunate there on the missed impacts. Court wouldn't have been the most impact though, because they still are opening the other side, and with a double at that. So not the worst thing in the world to lose here, as Mod will end up losing the head of J-Man here. He gets taken down, but he himself will get taken down right back from CJ, as TK will take down Jan. And now we are just stuck to a 4v3 as the defender is trying to hold tight as the attack is coming in from every side. CJ taking down Lyrid, and Red taking down the last one as CJ takes down Minty as well. Really good push in from the attack, just pinched every single defender there, as you can see, and just really pressured them out, making them a little bit more panicked on their shots and just catching them with the higher confidence.
Yep. And now we're in a 4-4, so it looks like we're going to be heading towards overtime, at least at the current rate here. And looks like we do have two different top-heavy, if we go back to the stats again, as I do believe that we have two different top-heavy stat spreads, it seems, which is rather interesting to note. We're also at the point where we finally get to see OMI. Okay, tick that box. We finally hit it.
Yeah. The return of Maverick Omaya onto the site, as we do end up getting a rerun of the last set, and it does look like we actually have the exact same roster on both sides. Looks like they're just going to try to take it on a different approach. As the last time, the Anchors just got pressured super hard on that entry from I believe that was Florida, sorry, Michigan Tech, and it just ended up working much more in their favor here.
You know what I want to see? The last time I was on this map with Florida, they brought a Kali when they were attacking. We obviously won't see that now. I kind of hope to see a Kali at some point so we can add more to that tick box counter, because we have it at 3 at least last I checked. I don't know if we got any more kills on stream from Kali.
You know, honestly, Kali is just one of those operators that, like, on release, everyone thought, oh yes, finally, an operator. But then when they played around with it, they realized, you know, this isn't 100% what we really wanted, but you know what? Say what you will about that character. If you know how to like set yourself up in certain angles and cover your team with it, you can actually accomplish quite a bit. Like if you open up that main wall there, you could probably see into vault and kind of cut off that sight line from super far away. But although you know, you still can't really see too much in your left and right. Not the greatest potential on this map, but like definitely still has a little bit of potential. It definitely could work out, especially with being able to get rid of any of those mute jammers or anything that's on the other side of the wall, assuming the ADS is destroyed.
Yeah, there was an interesting note here that Mozzie did manage to snag a drone. There's one drone god. That's an interesting placement. I do think that... I don't know what I was going to say, but we're now just in a holding pattern right now as we have 2 minutes left as people are very close to closing in on each other from multiple angles as we see ahead here as Santa manages to take out the Ash from basement. People are finally using basement, which is very, very nice.
Yeah, basement is pretty much like your underground tunnels. You can just run through there and use that as a full rotate freely because just no one really checks it that often. It looks like TK will end up finding Jan and get his head taken right off as Jan will just collect his head that much quicker, giving the defense a lot more of an advantage here. As that is the buck down. No more verticality from below anymore to just deal with at this point, as we got the rest of the defenders just sitting on the site trying to hold tight. It looks like actually really 1 or 2 defenders looks like here, as we have CJ just walk in, take down Menti and jump right out and try to look for the roamer that is coming from the other side, as he's gonna try to bait them, making them think he's on site, but no, he's actually right beside them. But looks like Jan will take out CJ and stop his tricks from happening, as the attacks now we're just gonna have to all fall on the side of the hard breach. Boomer and J-Man, last 2 standing, 50 seconds left on the clock. And I do believe they do have some one drone left between the two. A little bit of a slow push coming from Maverick. Almost like he's lagging a little bit. Oh my goodness. Catches the head of, I believe that was Santa there, as his partner gets taken down. He will take down Jan right back though, leaving himself at 1 HP in a Dream versus a Maestro and a Wamai. This is probably not the most favorable situation, especially with the bullet hose that Maestro has. Really not looking good for the side of MTU.
Yeah, at this point, I'd rather just save the last 20 seconds and try and talk about what you're going to do the next round here. As you don't necessarily need to push, as you don't expect to win, especially with your current life pool here. As we see the Wamai go off with the frag grenade there. And let's see if we got a second Wamai here. And we do got a... No second Wamai.
Oh, I thought he blew himself up. Oh, he did blow himself up!
Oh, wait, how?
He threw the grenade and cooked it. It didn't go far. He was expecting maybe like a Jaeger or something like that to be on the other side to delete it. And then just entered way too quickly there. Just blew himself up with that 1 HP in a Dream.
It must have clipped off the... I think what happened is that it hit the door, like the left-hand door, hit the top of it, and then went straight down, because that should have gone farther. Like, looking at it, it should have gone really far. Or, not really far, but significantly farther than it did.
Yeah, still very dangerous to walk in at the same time as your grenade at that low health. A little bit of a miscalculation, but we'll see if they're able to recover on this next round. As we are heading back to Trophy Statuary, bringing back the Goyo, and this time keeping the Wamai as well. And you can see the use that Wamai had, as he just is able to just sneak... Okay, originally, when Wamai was announced, you can see like the general public being like, oh, why would I want to bring this when I could just bring Jaeger? But you can see the exact use right there. you could just hide that little disc right in the corner of every single map, to the point where you peek around, you don't see it, so you think it's clear, you throw your frag grenade, and then suddenly it's about to blow up in your face in 3 seconds if you don't run out of the way.
Yep.
Really came into play there, as it just stopped, I believe that was Boomer, from being able to just push in freely and really make him try to use his grenades more and eventually meet his demise from it.
The thing that I was gonna say before that I finally remembered is, do you think we'll act? Oh, he's trying to get it under the.
Yeah, they just I love this. You can just sneak them everywhere, and he's understanding too that, you know, from a distance you can kind of see the blue light. I may as well put it over. But I just love the fact that you can hide those so well. It makes, you know, the utility really scary to use for the attackers.
Yeah, what I was going to say though is that I wonder if we'll see actually the backward shield. Because I don't know if you noticed or even knew this, but the backward shield actually provides more visibility coverage than the other way around. So if you have it placed like out into the hallway, or like the common one like placed on Astro, like the Astro desk facing bathroom, putting it backwards actually gives you more visual coverage than putting it the traditional way.
Are you saying like putting a Goyo shield backwards or putting a regular deployment?
Well, the Goyo shield has the same geometry as the regular shield. Of course, you wouldn't put a Goyo shield backwards.
Yeah, you gotta be confused on that one. What to say? You put a Goyo shield backwards? I don't like. You know, you just walk in, shoot the gas tank.
Yeah. No, but for a regular deployable, there actually is an advantage to putting it backwards, as it actually does cover more visual. The width is wider backwards for some reason.
Defense is ready.
Yeah, it's really a matter of situation comfort at that point.
So like that shield, if you placed it backwards, you'd actually be hidden more than you would this way.
Magnet ready.
Because you'd be able to walk out wider more. You can look it up. There's stuff about that. It's kind of a really weird and interesting tidbit.
See, 1 minute 30 seconds left. They're actually, both sides just haven't really been catching much action. It looks like a lot more of a slow push coming in from the side of the attack from Michigan Tech, sorry. As, looks like Jan gonna walk back inside, take some shots from afar, and gonna, actually from below, I think, here. As, you know, TKLV just below. Boomer gonna catch Jan with his grenade. That is the Mozzie down. Pretty decent pick to get off the bat, and Boomer gonna try to use the verticality and see if he can get the person hiding beneath there. Not, unfortunately, just a little bit short from finding his body, and I don't think he recognizes it either. But CJ gonna catch the double kill onto Menti and Lyrid's head, and at this point now he's just inside of Astro, gonna be able to push up from this side with his team. And Boomer has the diffuser there. They're going to be able to get a nice play off of this, especially with Mod just being in this corner here and being a little bit more isolated from what's going on onto that side entirely. We're going to have J-Man try to peek onto Mod and take him down with the headshot, as well as CJ taking down Santa, the top frag, down on the side of Michigan Tech.
That was interesting because as soon as they gave up a portion of their main defense, so as soon as Astro got conceded, then suddenly everything got conceded, as you noticed. So I think that's an interesting note that Florida needs to be able to be aware when something is taken and be able to pivot to make that suddenly out of their defensive block.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be seeing one more try onto the trophy statuary as the score line is 5-5, clearing that overtime just little by little. As every single round for the most part just been going, you know, 1 round for Michigan Tech, 1 round for Florida, 1 round Michigan Tech, and so on and so forth, and just really just inching back and forth. You can really see like the competition between these two teams as they looked at so far. They appear to be pretty evenly matched in terms of skill on both sides. As I think the like kill distribution, yeah, you can see like both of them have a top frag. Obviously, someone always has to be the bottom frag support. You always have that on every single team, but like I think the kill distribution across both teams relatively equal, all things considered. Obviously, a little bit of deviation, but not by that much.
Yeah, you have 2 top fraggers, as you notice it, at least in the other side. We have Red and CJ on Michigan, and then for Florida we have Santa and split in between Mod and Jan in this particular case. So it's actually very different here. If you look at your kill spreads, they're both relatively top heavy, which I think is an interesting note here, as they do the one wall backwards so that it is easier to impact trick. They did fail that once, so let's see if they'll actually be able to pull it off this time.
And we're going to see Santa putting down that same reinforcement, getting on that drone early as the attackers are let free. Going to be able to run up and get that lovely intel coming in as there's only really the Mozzie to be able to stop them, but we've seen a couple of interesting placements from before where, we got the spider in the middle of the window. See if that might make a return and possibly end up allowing the attackers to shoot it out first. But instead, Jan will just shoot out both drones by taking off the head of J-Man here. Really good to execute onto that flank there. And it looks like we're going to have Red trying to see if he could catch him before he gets any more things going off here. It's Santa, and I believe that was Lyrid, watching his staircase is allowing him to find a rotate if he needs it back into sight. Really good recognition from the team here to be able to give himself that out, especially with Red still on the prowl looking for him, as well as TKLV. Looks like he might be in, actually it's TKLV and Boomer, entering the side of Memorial and trying to find him as well.
Interesting thing is that now they can't hard breach, which means that they're going to have to do this the good old-fashioned way, which is just brute forcing in through the front, because they can't breach in through the side.
Well, they still got the Maverick. They can still burn the wall.
Yeah, fair.
And Menti going to be holding down that angle, watching. So if they do go for that Maverick, though, they will get shot. Just as Red gets shot from Jan, catching his second kill on the roam here. As CKLV going to try to throw a grenade and bank it toward, I believe that's Lyrid there, but unfortunately just overcooking it quite a bit and not really getting that grenade too deep in, allowing Lyrid to just to push up and see if he could find him, as I believe that was TKLV walking backwards back into the back of kitchen there.
So there is an interesting, I do believe that Nate did actually hit the lamp. Either that or the dog head, because you could hear two clinks. So I think it actually hit something and then blew up the roof, which is rather unfortunate. We've had two unfortunate grenade instances lately. As I said, we're in a 3v5 situation, or scratch that, a 2v5 situation with 50 seconds left in the round. I'd almost at this point just, they're going to keep trying. This Boomer manages to take out Lyrid. Good pick here for Nagoya. And one more for Tay onto Jan.
And you can see here 2v3. A lot more favorable situation for the attackers here, as the positioning that the defenders here, especially the attackers have, aren't, the greatest at the moment, as they're very split. And they're going to have to push onto someone like a Maestro, which you can see here already getting the head, and Mod just going to take down the other one. Finishing this round for Florida, and I think that's, 6-5 now?
Yeah, that's now 6-5 favoring Florida, and notably this is Florida's map. So we'll be at an interesting point where will they be able to take their own map or lose their map? Because if they lose their own map, that's a really big deficit in terms of their morale heading into the second map.
Yeah, and at this point, we're just one round away from either winning it for Florida International onto this map, or Michigan Tech going to be able to make that comeback into overtime and hopefully get the advantage, as we have just been trading rounds at this point. And now we're going to be going to Aviator Games. Looks like we've got a 6-pick off of the Pulse into the Mute. Going to be able to kind of make them think that there's going to be a C4 coming in from below and make MTU focus more on that roam clear and possibly not finding as much as they've been looking for, stalling out for some time, as well as bringing Mute on top of that. And then, so essentially, they're just going to drone out below, find that there's no pulse, start droning onto site, and then see Mute jammers and, completely waste their time and not be able to get intel. Pretty big brain 6-pick right there.
So question, how many times do you punch the wall, preferably, before you put the reinforcement up? I know it's that technically audio passes through better, but what's your preferred number of punch?
Oh, I make a smiley face.
You make a smiley face?
It's basically just the, the mentality of when you're a hard breach and you see a smiley face in the wall, you already know that's being bandit tricked, and then you start calling up your team to come, and then you end up waiting even longer before even trying to put the breach on the door. It's a lovely mind game for me, I don't know. Probably 90% of the people that play against ignore it, but, always fun to see it happen. It looks like, unfortunately, though, we will be getting the rehost called in here as well. Alright, as the round starts, so they're gonna really unfortunate. Thankfully, though, during prep phase, allowing the rehost to be able to get called in and allow, the person who crashed, I believe that was on Florida side, to be able to get back into lobby in perfect timing.
Yep. So now we will be taking a hot break. Not a real break per se, but we'll be taking a short diversion from the gameplay, as some
Yeah,
would say.
and honestly, this could still go both ways on both teams. Like we said before, we just had round after round getting traded. And at this point, Florida is going to be a little bit more hungry just to finish off this map and head into Clubhouse onto the second one, which will end up being Michigan Tech's map. In which case, they know at this point, even if we lose this map, we still have our own map pick of Club and, the variable comfort that they have onto Coastline. So they know it's not the end of the world. This is the lovely part of best of 5, really, just being able to
Best of
capitalize
5. How
on
long
the.
are we staying here?
No, best of 5 is 3 maps. Because you
No.
say, yeah, it is. Because best of 5 matches, which means whoever gets 3 first, no matter what happens, once they have 3, there's no way the other team loses. Therefore, it's.
Are we only doing 3 maps though?
Yeah, that's best of 5.
No,
Because if
it's
you.
not. No,
Okay,
no,
okay, okay, okay.
Wait.
Let me draw it out. Let me draw it out. Okay.
Uh-huh. Are we
So
getting the MS Paint out for this one?
5, right?
Uh-huh.
So if we have 5 matches, right? Once a
Yeah.
team gets 3 wins, right? no matter what happens, once they have that 3 wins, they cannot lose.
Yeah.
So if they don't get those 3 wins, if it goes to, say, for example, like 1-1 or like 2-1, because if you say, like, was it best of 3? Am I dumb?
Yeah, it is a best of 3. I'm not insane. What bath did you go to?
I don't know, man. The first to 3. Let's just go with that.
First to 3, first to 2.
Oh wait, no, it's first to 2. Dude, tournament setups are just all confusing. You know what I mean?
See, this is why I play a card game called Magic the Gathering, and I do officiating for that. This is why our games are first to 2 wins and not best of 3. That means you can't screw up what you're.
If it makes you feel better, then I play a lot of fighting games, and fighting games are kind of oriented around the best of 5 setup. So if you want to give me a defense in that case, technically I'm used to best of 5 there.
Oh, Lord. But then it's a best of 5 that's a best of 3 because it's 5 sets within 3 games. Because that's where you use the game set match, right? At that point, because each game has 5 rounds, each game has 5 rounds at most, and then each set has 3 games in terms of traditional fighting games.
You know what? Simple solution to all of this. We settle things the old-fashioned way. Tower Favela Infinite Overtime.
Oh, please, no. Can we not? Well, it's Favela Shotgun only, Infinite Overtime. Or whatever that...
No, because Favela Shotgun only, you can't get the spawn peaks.
No. Or whatever that map was that they used for the old Hereford base map where everything was destructible. And just shotgun only.
I swear that... I mean, I know there was a lot of destructibility, but I swear like half that map was cement still.
Oh, there's an event that's going to happen where the entire thing's destructible.
Oh, that's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Honestly...
See, that's where you do that with Infinite Overtime and everyone only has a shotgun. And then you could suddenly fall through the floor. Or, even better, you mod it such that everyone is...
I feel like everyone's just going to pick first floor sites.
Well, no, that's because there's a thing where there's like a safe on the top floor and you have to get it out, and it's kind of a mess. And it's kind of unclear. But
wait, couldn't you just make a giant moat?
That's not how floor work.
I mean, like, if everything's destructible on the floor, couldn't you just, cut a nice hole and just make a giant... Oh, wait, no, the floor would disappear. Good point.
That's what I'm saying. That's not how physics work.
Wait, but then what if the bomb's on the 3rd floor and then you break off the entire, the supporting parts? Wouldn't the whole site just fall? The defenders win? Because it technically detonates the bomb off of going out of area,
Well, no, I believe it's the attackers have to get the safe out of the building. So whatever the hell does that. But as I said, that's how you would do it. You do it in such a way that everyone has a shotgun, or you just do knife only. I mean, take it that way.
Yeah, it looks...
No, you do the map that everyone hates. You do Bartlett University, with whatever the worst gun in the game is, which is a lot of them. There are a lot of bad guns in this game.
And it looks like we're just getting on the tail end of having the rehost done. Unfortunately, since we're so deep in the round, the lovely observer over here, CORSAIR, has to keep in mind all the rounds and input them all one by one. It looks like he may have just gotten it correct.
We'll be starting soon, TM, as we'll see if we have determined the correct rounds.
Oh yes. Worst case scenario, we end up with the wrong setup, but then he has to go through the whole list again. That's the real travesty right there. That right there is the that's the part where you like stop and you just look in the mirror and you rethink life a little bit because you have to go through that whole thing. I hate rehosting.
Yep. I was a spectator once, and then I had to do this 3 times, and I said, nah, can we not? Yeah. Fortunately, realistically, only the last 3 rounds matter, which is rather nice. Last three rounds being the ones that check as to what you can't pick for the next one.
I mean, there is also the worst case scenario that you accidentally give one team, or like in this case, Florida 7 wins, and then what ends up happening is just, the game starts and the game's over.
You're like, shit, dang, and you're like, oh no, it's one of those things where you're like,
yeah.
Did we do the thing?
Okay, we got MTU on attack, so that's correct.
I mean, I expect that to be correct. It's a matter of, is the scoreline right?
And do we get it? Does CORSAIR win the lottery? Hey. Yes, he does. Now they have to pick the exact same operators too. Let's pray to God they do that, because I already forgot what half the lineup was.
And they did, it seems. Cursory glance, everything is the same. Oh, right, the pulse was picked because it was 6 picked off, so that is an entirely valid thing to do.
Yeah. Wait, you leaked the 6 pick. They know. Oh no. Yeah, that's right. Only one team 6 pick. I see you typing there, CORSAIR.
Oh lord, the integrity of the match. I mean, they probably find out pretty quick.
They'll find out regardless, see whether or not. It doesn't really make a difference.
I was gonna say it was after they confirmed, and they were gonna find out real quick that the mute's there.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a hard one to figure out that they have.
You usually just jump into a wall, but suddenly your drone's gone. It's way of life.
Yep. Remember way back in the days of yore where we used to jam the mutes at the top upstairs, and that was the best option for mute for like ages? And then suddenly maps actually were designed properly, and you actually had to think about where to put your mute jammers.
Oh yeah. Now it's just, okay, am I gonna get the walls? I'm gonna get every single entrance in this entire godforsaken site. And generally speaking, getting those entries are nice, but of course, they don't really have a bandit on this team, so they're gonna need to prioritize on those walls just a little bit more. Ooh, nice little deployment shield there. Might end up coming to punish them as well again, as they could go for some fast peeks there, but with the good amount of roam presence, I don't think that'll be too much an issue, because they'll just allow them to flank. Which one?
That pot?
Oh yeah, it didn't just get destroyed, but I'm not actually sure if that could.
I don't think it is a destroyable object. I think it's there literally for spawn peaks. I'm not entirely sure, but that pot is generally destroyable on every other map. Like that kind of ornamental vase thing.
Yeah, it's because it's the reinforced clay.
Yes, compared to the normal clay. Which I don't think...
The government is investing in reinforced clay, as TKLV is investing in the headshots onto Jan right there. Ooh, Santa with the headshot as well onto Red. Bringing it back down to a 4v4. Things are already getting pretty heated as kills going left and right. Santa getting TKLV right back. And now at this point, the side of Florida is looking a lot more confident as they are sitting on the character lead here, as they have 4 people left alive, but they will not. Michigan Tech not unable to get rid of that Paul as easily due to the mute jammer.
I will make a note. Today I learned that the Habana pellets are different colors when you use the elite skin. I didn't realize
they're all black now.
And also that the fire's a different color too. Huh, into cool aesthetics, I guess. As we now have opened up into behind bar in the gaming room, as Menti is hiding, hopefully, and hoping that they don't particularly take his line of sight as we now have two people involved, both of them eyeing the Maestro. Maestro covering the door into classical hallway here.
Yeah.
Taking that
Located
bold
by
white peak
attacker.
as he is nearly getting flash, or at least getting the highlighter on his screen with a minute left in the round here. As Mod takes out Jan, and now it looks like Florida might be able to take this. As CJ takes out 2, now it's a 2v2. Oh boy. Oh lord, and then C4 from below gets a double kill. Oh lord.
And that's just a quick round right there.
Oh, not C4 from below. There was a pre-made hole specifically for Bar.
Yeah, actually, they purposely made that hole before that too. You can tell, and it really paid off there. Is after all that practice, they get that nice last kill there, and it looks like we will be seeing the win for Florida on this map. CORSAIR can stop worrying about the good old overtime coming in, as he had some bad experiences in the past. As we're going to be heading into our next map of Clubhouse. Yes.
Yes. That's what we were given, so I have to assume that's correct.
Yeah.
Also, we may have to do a game restart.
The spectator has the mute bug. I didn't even know that was possible. And actually, it followed him into, like, all the way into the menus.
No, that's where the mute bug follows you unless you restart the game. For whatever reason, it covers the entirety of the entire... Like, it takes that audio channel and just turns the whole thing into the mute bug.
Yeah. Really unfortunate there.
We may have... We may have a solution. We may have some in-house IT from the tech schools.
Yeah, and just looking into the future, though, we are going to be seeing Michigan Tech's a second map pick here as we head into the Clubhouse defense. They're going to be walking in with a little bit more confidence on their side, as they are the ones who picked it. And, you know, all things considering on that last map, I think they probably have a good chance to possibly bring this over to Coastline, as, you know, we've seen such a back and forth on Villa, and that's a map that, generally speaking, you would think that every single team playing may not have the most comfort on because it's the most banned, right? So now going into Michigan Tech's pick, I feel like Michigan Tech will be walking here with a little bit more confidence on their shots and the way that they anchor. As I can't remember it because I think it was like it was like closer to the start of the game. We had like some of the anchor holds from Michigan Tech looking a little bit shaky as the attack from Florida was just walking in. I'm expecting a lot more confidence in those situations on the side of their defense, since they will be, you know, walking with that pick in mind, and probably out of the 3 maps, feeling much more confident on that one out of all of them.
Yep. And I honestly expect it to be a similar scoreline for Clubhouse. As we saw how close Villa was, I'd expect, as Clubhouse isn't actually played a map, that we expect a similar scoreline on the other side, so a 7-5 favoring Michigan.
See, this is probably one of my favorite parts about once we hit playoff seasons, because it's just like every single map, every single site, no matter who's playing, will always be kept super close. Like, even if it's a really good team versus a team that is like iffy, you'll still see, like, for them to hit playoffs, they still have, like, you know, enough to be able to push themselves to keep every single round close itself. And it just makes it so much fun to watch in situations like this. Like, even if the scoreline's 7-0, you can look at every single round and be like, okay, well, this was like this one key moment where everything changed, and that key moment's usually at the end half of the round.
Yep. I honestly kind of want to see a Coastline because I expect a lot of fun monkey play, because there's a Coastline is extremely high mobility map. Unlike most of the other maps, the only one that's relatively comparable, I'd say, is Cafe in terms of map mobility. And I think technically the new theme park also is extremely highly mobile as well, because it's like 3 or 4 sets of stairs now going upstairs, and it's kind of insane about how you can live about that map now.
I've seen a lot of people already starting to talk about how on earth you attack on theme park, with like a lot of strats revolving around like, okay, well, we'll just enter really far away, push all the way in, because if you like try entering some of those direct routes, you end up either getting C4'd or there's just this really nasty setup on entry, and it just doesn't allow you. Can't wait for that map to enter rotation and just shake things up altogether.
Yeah, it's also half the size now, which is great. That's very, very, in terms of like competitive play, making the map physically smaller has done wonders.
I mean,
Losing that whole
It depends your team, I think, for that one. Because
like losing that whole train section and that relative space under it makes it, at least for competitive play, I'd say, just a better, more balanced map, because that train part was kind of weird because there was only 2 ways to enter and you couldn't go downstairs from it, and it didn't really operate or do anything.
I'll agree with you on that part, because like honestly, out of all the times I've ever had to play the old theme park, all you have to do is just sit in train and you win. That's it. The second you get control of train, it's over.
Because you suddenly split the whole building in half, or at least the top floor in half, which are the only 2 relevant sites realistically, you know?
Yeah. And you have the support of either your drone work or your team just being on one side, so you only have to focus on the other side. That train split was really killer on some people. And yeah, I feel like this one probably will, definitely with the removal of that entire area and section and idea, will probably make things a lot better, especially for roamers.
Yep. And it looks like we're going to be started soon. I'm going to use CUNTM again, as I'm not entirely sure what's up and when we'll be started. But as we said, Clubhouse is the map. And do you think that, how thematically accurate is Bandit's costume to the Clubhouse map, do you think? Bandit's elite skin.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't really see it that often. Or nor do I play Clubhouse that often, so I'm not too sure.
Shame on you for not having map depth, as we were talking about. Come on.
I don't know, man. I'm not that much of a fan of the elite skin. Just not my style. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm also the same. It's one of those things where, like, we were looking at skin prices in other games, and Siege is relatively low for skin prices, I noticed. Like, comparative pricing to other platforms. If you want a gun skin, that's incredibly cheap. Compared.
And it looks like we do have our lobby filled up now. Hopefully we should be starting soon, as things fortunately had to get a little bit of a rehost because of that mute bug glitch. And yeah, so Clubhouse, definitely going to be an interesting map. Of course, I don't really have too much information about both these teams beforehand, but I'm still considering how things have been going. I'm expecting this to be very, very close onto both sides as well. Probably a little bit more familiar of a map for both teams, since this is a little bit of an older map for them, and they will be able to get a lot more intel of how things should be played, in a lot more, lot less, I would say, creativity that Villa had, where you could just hold that thing like 50 different ways with the different roam setup every single time. So really, really interesting to see how this one gets played out.
So, question. How old are we, at least game-wise, to remember when Clubhouse didn't have connector? When was that done? Was that like 2 years ago now?
I actually don't remember the date, to be honest. I don't have that much of an encyclopedia brain.
It was a while ago, and people don't remember how miserable it was, because you couldn't cross over between sites, and bank sucked, or at least like server and server and cache was a miserable, utterly unusable at the time.
Yeah, it looks like both teams might be giving their ready up, starting into this one soon. As Clubhouse, of course, our map number 2, and here we go into the start. Looks like we will be starting now, as we have our map bans coming out. Sorry, character bans coming out, as we have Michigan Tech on starting attack and Florida on starting defense.
And now let's see what our first ban is, coming in from Florida International. They're actually thinking a lot longer than the last time that the first ban came out here. Took at least half of the ticker here. What are your personal expectations to see banned here?
Maverick, for sure. We saw Boomer bring it out almost every single round, and this is a map where Maverick shines the brightest, as you're just able to destroy that cash wall in 3 seconds. Or more like 30 seconds, give or take. But yeah, here it is. Just getting, knowing that your opponent's going to definitely play it, and then having to hold on to cash is 2 very scary things. You may as well just ban it out, especially if you don't know how to use it yourself that proficiently. So really good ban to get off the bat.
Yeah, now we're seeing what our second ban is coming in from Michigan Tech, one of their main operators being taken out. A target ban plus actually being a relatively meaningful ban on this map, as cash can get really easily open with Maverick, as we see Nomad. Another targeted pick as it may seem, as we saw Florida taking Nomad on almost every single one of their rounds. So I think that's a rather interesting note that both teams have decided to do semi-targeted picks. Also potentially talking about what kind of defensive style for a bandit ban. Oh no. Oh no.
I mean, this is not a terrible ban. It really just kind of forces the other team to be afraid to ban off Cade, as generally speaking, you have your three ways of protecting a wall. You have Mute, Cade, and Bandit. By banning Cade at this point, they're actually just going to make the site super scary for them to be able to hold, because you can't really mute jam off some of those hatches, and the basement's just going to become hell in order to defend. And with Bandit already being banned, you're going to want to put even more importance on Cade itself, as Cash Wall is something you could try to trick, although the success rate is relatively low. Could still try to go for it. And looks like we're going to have Thatcher not banned here for once in about a month, give or take. And now we're going to be able to see Thatcher actually get played alongside Thermite, who was previously banned last match.
And alongside Jim Bedroom, of all things. So we're going to be in for an interesting time here, as it is important to note that, especially with Thatcher likely being picked on every single attacker round, I think that on this map and the way it stands, that it will be likely attacker-sided, just because with the bandit gone, you can't bandit trick anymore, and it's going to be significantly harder to keep things actually closed, at least from externally. And that castle hard pick actually points towards Jim Bedroom pretty hard, which is a rather interesting choice to be made here.
Yeah, a little interesting here to already just be showing off the castle off of the bat, as generally that's an operator you want to 6-pick, because that one, generally speaking, every single castle setup is, for the most part, shown off quite a bit throughout the league. And if you see a castle getting picked, you could already tell, okay, they're definitely not going basement. They're going to 6-pick off this, or they're going basement. But instead they decide to just, stick it all the way through, already revealing to their opponent that they're probably going to want to go Jim Bedroom side here, and instead opting to actually just 6-pick from the, I believe that was Goyo into Valkyrie, allowing themselves to get the longer vision. So see how this ends up playing out on the side of the attack.
Yep, as it looks like they're doing a pretty standard hold here with everything. You kind of have to hold the whole top floor if you're doing Jim Bedroom. That's not necessarily something you have to do when you're holding cash, because you do cash garage instead of like Jim Bedroom cash. So it'll be interesting to see how they particularly hold the upper side, as they don't really have much room to have someone roam on the first floor.
And it looks like we're in the usual, probably one of my more favorite setups coming in from the defense here, as we have the long angle setup from Cash Room with some castle reinforcements to back it up. Actually, never mind. It opted to just only really keep the mirror window to hold it off. Realistically, what this allows is a really long angle all the way into that Jim Bedroom window if someone decides to walk in there. We also have, it looks like the wall getting opened up inside here, as they have to peek now a mirror window if they want to enter this way, putting a little bit of pressure onto them in the end. Looks like Mod is going to be playing behind that castle wall and mirror window, sitting there waiting for someone to try to enter in and get caught off guard.
Yeah, it looks like that second thermite is being used to open up the entirety of the QB wall here, leaving that Mira unable to leave. So Mira is now trapped in the bathroom, and there's not much that Mira can do about it. It seems like the attackers actually don't have frag grenades, so that Mira gets to stick there pretty hard, and now Mira's being open, so she's actually going to be able to escape pretty effectively here, barely missing that impact trick.
Yeah, I was about to say, for a second, that Mira was actually in a pretty good spot. The whole wall's open, that's a lot of sightline, just keep shooting. But unfortunately, Hibana, they're just going to stop that plan from being able to happen and just take down the mirror window on that side, allowing them to have an entirely open hallway and be able to walk in and out as they please. Especially see their Logi is castled off there, so that's an entire part of the map. They don't have to worry about a flank too hard as well. Down goes the Mira as J-Man gets a shot onto Lyrid from afar. Looks like we're getting some vault action into bathroom, as Red is going to try to go in for some frags, as the rest of the defense is left off site at this point. TK will manage to pick off Jan, but Mod also looking for TK to jump into the window and take him out, as Santa going to try to walk up the staircase and catch some people off guard. Red will take down Mod. In comes Smoke, getting taken down by Santa there, as well as Red getting taken down. And oh my goodness, Menti going to stop TK from being able to push any further. My goodness, just kills going left and right everywhere. Looks like MTU will get the advantage in the end, as the Twitch was just locked inside Logi here.
Yeah, that was a rather interesting round, which points out one of the small problems with the Jin bedroom site specifically, is that it's nearly impossible to retake. We saw a really good effort there coming in from the Jaeger, just the strength of a powerful gun being able to win multiple gunfights, and actually nearly got the person who proned below Jim window. But as soon as that person ended up getting killed, now suddenly no one's in sight and you can't really do anything anymore. That site is extremely hard to retake, and that's why they're likely moving to Church Arsenal. Interestingly enough, no pick for Kaid, and it doesn't seem like there'll be a 6 pick either. So that means that they're going to be heavily playing upstairs to be able to combat that, is my suspicion. As we note, the 6 pick from Jackal onto the IQ for the presumed Kaid, which will not be there.
Yeah, I'm expecting that at least some of the defense does have an impact, and they'll be going for an impact trick to stop at least the kitchen hatch from being opened up, but those other 2 hatches are pretty much just open season. And might end up spelling trouble for the side of Florida.
Yep, and that looks like we're just doing a pretty traditional hold downstairs. I'm very curious to see who will be roaming, as Jaeger is now a fair amount slower, being a 2-2 operator instead of a 3-1. You can see his sprint is a lot less expedient here.
A lot less finished.
Yeah, he's significantly slower. As it looks like we'll be seeing Mod holding blue.
It also, you can see there, he still has all 3 ADSs in his inventory, so I'm expecting he's probably going to try to, like, either soft roam or anchor around here. Especially since, you know, if you're going to roam, you're probably going to drop all your ADSs and reinforcements out as soon as possible. Try to already be upstairs at the start, and it looks like, you know, he's going for a little bit of a slower setup here. We're probably going to be just focusing more on sight as he goes toward blue stairs and backs up his friend. Never mind, just a really long setup there.
Yep. And now we see Jan chilling inside of Janitor over there next to Stock. As we see one person in garage, it looks like, as Santa rotates now into server.
Looks like CJ may have gotten himself already into the garage side. Drone work coming out from below, going to be able to catch out quite a bit of people actually. You can see someone's playing blue with a little bit of a setup there. We got some nice drone work coming in, seeing a little bit of probably some vigil lines and whatnot on the side of garage. Looks like IQ going to take out the cam and then just melee the door down immediately. And it looks like they also have their drones positioned inside of where the default cam would be placed as well, allowing themselves to get that nice vision onto cash room itself. As, ooh, looks like the... Did he just try to go? Oh no, the hatch got opened up, sorry, in Moto from, I believe that would be the Hibana.
Yeah, as the Habana actually did believe rotate upstairs, from what I could tell, to try and clear out the 3rd floor. But it looks like not a lot is happening except for stuff being open. They're just doing a full picture of clear as Jam manages to get J-Man and Santa gets TK. Doing some solid picks here up on the 3rd floor, cleaning houses. They're trying to do their full clear. CJ just going in.
Oh my goodness. Shots just going left and right from the behind there. Lamont just trying to hold that down nice and perfectly as he managed to catch CJ just trying to run away, but another one, looks like Jan is going to try to rotate back into sight along with Santa, and at this point, they're going to counter bustings from that roam and just focus entirely on sight, which they're going to be able to do so well, especially with only 2 attackers left on board, and they still are looking for a roamer even though they're gone back on sight. Really well played on Florida to leave this amount of fear on the side of Michigan, making them waste so much time, especially at 50 seconds left. This is pretty crucial.
Yeah, we're at 40 seconds now, and they eventually have to make a push downstairs, and it seems like they're still trying to clear out roamers, and they're just going to have to do push through blue is what they're specking for right now, blue and oil pit, as they look at each other, realizing that, oh no, we actually have to go to a site at some point, and they're not sure how they're going to probably retake that. And this is one of those interesting situations where that shield is actually beneficially placed for the attackers, though not by a whole lot.
Actually, I would actually argue it worked out better for the Wamai there, because it kind of just stopped them from being able to vault. And I think if they do vault that as well, I can't remember the interaction 100%, but the amount that I think they do get un-ADS'd when they vault,
you can't
right?
ADS when you vault.
Yeah, so that really just gave Wamai the advantage because of that.
Yeah, but that was a situation where due to its position, I was saying, is that they're actually more easily able to hide behind it.
Well, true, they still have to vault over in the end. They can't really like peek out.
Like, they can do peaks, but that doesn't mean that they can actually progress, and that was the problem there, is that it was a very good job in preventing progression. And now they're bringing the Kaid for CCTV cache, which makes a lot of sense, because, oh boy, you gotta try.
Let's stop this little bit of a breach from going off so easily. Like, even if there's Thatcher on the board going to be able to get rid of the Electric Claw so easily, we still at least burn a little bit of his utility, possibly allowing, Jaeger ADSs to survive a little bit longer from being burned from EMP grenades, and possibly even maybe some trickery from Wamai be able to get pulled off here. I'm kind of curious to see how they end up playing the Wamai on this site. Saw some nice reinforcements coming out. Nice little shield being put on that little catwalk there, as well as the rotation hole. So actually, that's kind of interesting, because they're gonna have to vault over that deployment shield into the rotation hole and leave themselves exposed to get shot from the side, and not being able to just kind of quickly peek that hole as they would be able to before. And interesting enough, it looks like Mod only had reinforcements for one of the walls. Is someone else gonna get the other garage wall? Or we're just gonna leave that soft with 8 seconds left.
That's a soft wall there, Captain.
That's a little scary there. Looks like Santa's trying to run full sprint at it. Will he get? He's a little bit risky here, but will he get shot? Oh, looks like. Wait, I don't even. Did they shoot the top part of the garage? Oh no, it was Mod shooting that part. Sorry.
Yeah, getting a view into stock.
Okay. Oh, okay. For a second, I thought he was getting shot. I'm like, that's a weird angle to get shot at from.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think there's any way where they can get there that fast. I'm like 90% sure that it's physically impossible for that.
Yeah, it looks like Santa won't be punished whatsoever as he goes for those shots. Mod gonna hold up that top garage, as you can already see some attackers around, shooting all around his head, not catching him though. And he's gonna be trying to able to capitalize on this as the Hibana gonna open up the bottom part of the garage, leave a little bit of an angle from that little hole there. Actually, usually that's used for a capital, but they don't really have a capital in this case, so I'm kind of curious to see how they will use it. But I don't think it really mattered for them too much, as they already opened up the part of cache wall.
Yeah, now we're at a point here where the dock is kind of trapped, and there's not really much he can do about it. Because if he tries to rotate, he gets gods from the garage wall side, or either the main door. And there really isn't many good options. Now he's just buying for time, and there's not really much he can do except for that. Now they know exactly where he is. And there are no frag grenades on the attacker side, so you just kind of have to flash him out maybe. And that's about all you got.
Also argue that he's not in a terrible position, just because he does have a lot of cover, and mentally right now he probably will think that the garage wall is fully open because he heard the Hibana pellets go off. He probably didn't get the cam footage, unfortunately, to tell him just how free it is. Although there are a lot of angles he can get peeked from, he is still a dock with an ACOG and 3 stim charges, so he could definitely switch that situation around for his own favor. As he goes for the overheal here, probably going to see a little bit of aggressive peek to stop anyone from being able to walk in on him. As you see, you're just throwing some shots left and right, but not really catching anyone, as it looks like the attack kind of let off on.
Yeah, now we see a couple people going into small office here as Lyrid manages to get red, and J-Man manages to get Jan, and Menti gets J-Man here with the refrags coming out here as CJ manages to get Menti. And oh boy, they finally claim the top. They haven't even claimed garage yet, or maybe they didn't, and Modded finally retreated here as we see Santa coming in from behind. Can he get the Jackal? Yep, he got it.
There it is.
Yep, and then the sound was being hidden by the shotgun. Oh boy.
And another one for him as he takes down Boomer, trying to respond to that situation. Unfortunately, just not quick enough on that. And now TK, last man standing, 20 seconds left on the clock, trying to bring this round home for Michigan Tech, but there's 3 men alive, as well as an overheal dock again. As TK gonna try to walk into that bedroom, but unfortunately not be able to so easily, so he's gonna opt instead to get into logistics, see if he gets some angles, walk in, but ooh, some shots coming in from Lyrid, not exactly catching him down to low health just yet. TK gonna walk in, try to get that diffuser, but it looks like he ran out of time as the round just ticks down, and it looks like he will end up actually being able to save the KD there at the very end, but not find any kills on the way out.
So it's interesting to see here that the lack of frag grenades is really what has been, I'm putting dooming in quotes here, is really what has been a negative aspect on Michigan's rounds here. It took them way too long to push out the Doc, who was sitting on the garage stairs, and that's why they ended up losing a round, right? So it'll be interesting to see if look, and now they're bringing frag grenades. Look at that. They realized, oh wait, we need frag grenades, and because they can clear them pretty well, but they can't do anything to clear out like the Doc. So they're going back to Jim Bedroom here, which was a unsuccessful defense here, as we learned. Retakes are incredibly difficult on this site here, and now bringing a Kaid to prevent that wall from being open, the jacuzzi wall from being open. So this will be rather interesting to see how the attacker side shifts to deal with actual resistance on that wall.
And defuse bombs.
Yeah, and definitely going to have to make a lot of adjustments off that previous setup. It looks like we already have a little bit of adjustment on the attack, bringing the sledge to get rid of those castle barricades, allowing an easier push onto anyone trying to use them for a lot of cover. And, you know, as we had before, just the setup on that top red stairs, being able to put a mirror window there and a castle wall protecting himself, kind of left him in a very safe state back there. And the only place you could push him up is by running up the staircase, which I want to bet probably potentially may have had just one barbed wire on, so that it makes it even still a scary setup. And at that point, not really the greatest thing to push at that situation, and can also be used with that long angle just to come back and bite them in the long run. So definitely a good adjustment made by the attack here to bring Sledge.
Yep. As now we move into the part where the attackers can actually move, as we'll see that they know that it's Jim Bedroom, and it looks like they're making moves such as they're going to get the logistics hack to open right quick with that good old sledgehammer. Or maybe, yeah, sledgehammer with a whiff. Oh no, we got it on camera. Well, he got it this second.
It's okay.
50% is good enough.
Just throw the hammer at the hatch and the weight will drop it through. Easy.
Yeah. And I guess that's not where the Kaid was? That's weird.
You know what?
I don't think that Thatcher's over there.
You know what he's trying to do here? He's trying to like sit here with the electric claw, wait, and try to bait someone to try to get rid of his wall, and then possibly throw the electric claw at it. Because
Did you see the client side debris come through the mirror shield?
Yeah, it just smacked him in the face. Oh, wait,
as
CJ just walks in?
Yeah, he walks at the site. Oh no! As Mane manages to get CJ's, we get a peek out from Surfer, and now we're back to the status quo. We're at a 3-3 here as the walk-in doing a reasonable bid here as Mane manages to tag another. Someone else just also walks into the site as we get a rotate into logistics. Oh boy, that that happened and very quickly here.
The clock is still so high up right there. Minute 30 seconds. They have a lot of pressure with sight here as well. And I think at this point, this entire round is just a lot of smoke and mirrors. Let's just pressure that wall super hard and pretend that we're gonna go for it, that hard. When we have one walk up the stairs, just like Boomer, gonna take down Manti there. As Ma gonna get the refrag. 1v2 situation for Boomer. Left inside that bathroom. He's trying to figure out what he's gonna do as he holds that pistol out, aims it at the wall. Looks like he's gonna reload here really quick and try to figure out just how he's gonna push this, as he knows both of them are off site, but he's not in the clear to try to go for a plant by any means. Gonna have to try to take down one and then focus down the other before being able to get anything going. Unsure where his position is. Look like both of them are actually looking the wrong way, and Santa walks right back in sight. I think he does hear Boomer a little bit. He falls down the hatch. I don't think he wanted that.
Oh no, that was definitely not intended. So we got the wrongful hatch drop on the wrong.
Yeah, now he's got to walk up the staircase, hits the barbed wire, didn't give out his position. Will he be able to get anything going before someone catches him coming up the staircase? Looks like he gets himself into the bathroom hole, but Mod just gonna take his head off right as he goes for the peek. Really unfortunate for the hatch drop there. I honestly believe that kind of made like 50% of the difference there.
I'd likely say more than 50% because that gave away as to where he could go. And he didn't have enough time to loop around back through cache to get back to where he was before. So that was a rather unfortunate instance there.
By the look of the way of Santa was like peeking around and looking, I feel like if he timed his push right, he actually would have caught Santa off guard and put himself in a 1v1 situation. So really smart to just open up all the other random hatches. You never know when you catch the enemy off guard.
Yeah, I was playing a match a couple weeks ago, and it was Villa, and 3 different people fell down the office hatch when you're coming in off of balcony when you're trying to get the wall for map.
Yeah, it's always a shame to see happen.
Yep. As we now are moving downstairs to good old church, and I forget what the other one inside. It's armory.
Arsenal.
Arsenal. It's not an armory. It's an arsenal this time because there's a difference.
Same thing. Word mostly. Just I think fancier word really. I don't even know. English is a very complicated language.
It's what the Germans prefer, I guess, would be an arsenal instead of an armory. But as we see here, we get reinforced endurance, all the standard stuff. So I'm very curious to see who will be playing upstairs, as we technically have 3 possible candidates, as Jaeger is less so alone these days.
Yeah, you see the hatch getting opened up from above. We're gonna see if it gets someone with the pitfall trap, or possibly open up a rotate for Santa and Jan over here. We're gonna be playing the roam game, and Santa gonna get that hatch in the last second, right before any of the shots can really pressure him too hard. See TKLV just trying to push a little bit quicker on the doors to get himself in a position to start droning, but the vigil jammer, will of course try to trip them up as much as he can. And CJ, he's actually just walking in again. He's already down main stairs, just ignoring all the roamers, trying to just walk straight into sight and see how far he can get before any of them stop him.
Yeah, there's also an interesting point to be made that now that the goose sight lines it. Oh no!
That lead! And he still gets the kill!
Oh no! Oh,
CJ.
No. I believe there were 2 of them tracking in that room too. So what I imagine happened is they saw the person in front, stepped to the side, shot the person behind, or at least attempted to, and then got caught by the Jaeger.
And this could be big.
Suspicion.
Yeah, this could be big from CJ too. He's still on that staircase. He knows that, you know what, my teammate just got killed right behind me. We got at least a basis of information that, they're on bar. If they try to rotate on site, they go through CJ. So at this point, even if they think about retreating, they're actually just pushing CJ entirely, and might catch them in a bad predicament. Looks like we're going to be going for a bit of a thermite breach there, using both of the charges impact grenades to get rid of that charge. And that's actually both of J-Man's charges down, and Red is dead, so there's no more chance of getting any hard walls open for the side of Michigan Tech. Really bad situation here, and CJ looks like he's still sticking true to the staircase, but Jan just holding true on that bar area too, as it looks like Santo will be the first one to take a push and take down J-Man.
Yeah, and now we're in a 3v5, still very much winnable, but with a minute 10 left and both of your hard breachers out, it's going to be rather difficult to get back onto site. In any particular fashion, because you assume someone's holding blue, you assume someone's likely holding church at this point, or like Moto. So it's going to be rather difficult to push onto. As CJ, as we know him as the solid entry fragger he is, he might just be able to nail a few people if the Jaeger can't rotate fast enough. Yep, now he's just legging it. You see him down there, he's legging it all the way into Moto as he flashes out Moto and sprays into blue and tags 1 in blue. He still has 21 bullets left in the mag, because that is technically an LMG at this point, as we see the back rotation from Santa rotating into blue here.
And Jen and Santa just held back there for so long that, the attack just figured they're gone by now, but they just still sitting there biding their time. It looks like Lyrid will stop CJ from being able to push. Boomer gonna take down Santa and stop that flank. TKLV gonna be trying to push along the side alongside Boomer as they have to push into Moto. And now at this point, Jan gonna start making his move onto the flank as they least expect it. At the last second, TKLV taking down Manti, getting them onto site. Gonna be able to go for the plant here, but will they be able to survive as Jan takes down Boomer the planter? And now it's just one man live, and he gets taken down at the last couple of seconds with no diffuser plan in sight.
The whole undoing was Goo. The Goo was the undoing, because he couldn't watch the flank because he was gooed, and he couldn't plant because he was gooed, and I believe it was the same guy who had the diffuser. So rather unfortunate instance there. That was a very much winnable round, as the Kaid was put very low by the engagement with CJ.
And we saw last map was just so close, round after round, going to both teams. And how on Clubhouse, even though this is still the first half and the last round of the half at that, Florida is actually has a 4-1 lead here. So they're going to be trying to get this 5-1 at the end of the half here. especially with CCTV cash room being a little bit more in their favor, arguably. Definitely the map to be able to pull that off on and possibly end this out a lot more quicker than the last map.
Yep, and now this is definitely seemingly significantly more favorable for Florida, which is rather interesting considering that this is Michigan's map. And now we're going to see another attempt at the defense. Let's see if they brought frag grenades, and they did not bring frag grenades, but in lieu of frag grenades, they did bring Zophia's concussive mines, which is a rather good, not necessarily a best alternative, but at least it's a reasonable alternative, I'd say, to be able to push the Doc and or Kaid, who'll be sitting up and garage out of there.
Also, they brought almost enough flashes to pretty much simulate a Ying in the game. Like, that's like, what, 9 flash grenades brought all together. They are probably just going to go for some nice flash pushes here and just immediately get themselves onto site as quickly as possible with them.
I am rather surprised at the choice of no breach charges and double Claymore, as there aren't very many particularly amazing places to jump out on this map that you wouldn't be watching.
Oh no! That is not a wall you want to leave soft. They're going to be able to breach open that wall and get themselves immediately onto construction. It looks like CJ's just waiting an extra couple seconds to see if he can hear someone going for a late reinforcement and get some calls in from his team and make sure that, you know what, if I push this, I'm definitely doing a solid here. As he goes for the plant here after confirming his team's location, Santa just going to get caught out immediately, and it looks like down will go the cage as well, but Jan going to get the refrag. Unfortunately for FIU, they're just a big loss on one miss reinforcement.
But those are 2 giant picks as Santa, I believe, is the top fragger being taken out, and Lyrid, who is the Kaid, being taken out. So everything is just going to be open now, as Red also tags Jan. So all we got left is the smoke and the Doc. The smoke is pretty much tagged out here, as Red manages to get that. And I believe that the smoke in the air was actually EMP'd as Doc falls through the window, gets one, but is unable to get the other. And one
can see
mistake
there,
ripping apart the round. Oh boy.
You can see there at the end, the Doc just trying to pull off his inner John Wick, walk into sight and just become a human tornado of bullets, firing it off onto everyone's heads, but unfortunately, just couldn't get that retake after that such large loss of control in that last final moment there. Really unfortunate for, I believe that was Florida there, to miss that reinforcement, allowing Michigan Tech to be able to take that round quite easily there. I think that was like, what, 4 people left alive? No, it was 4. Yeah,
it was 3 by
alive.
the end, but it was 4 people for the last push. Warden!
Yeah.
Whee! I imagine part of the Warden was because that mod did flash a Ying for a hot second, and Warden is now being 6-picked off to Jaeger. And
well, they can't see the pick, so they shouldn't really know that they were flashing the Ying.
No.
Oh, but that has to hurt.
Oh, no.
I mean, okay, at least it's onto a Jaeger, another operator who could still counter Ying. At least
but
it's still
Warden is the objectively better counter to Ying.
Defenders, protect your
it depends. Do you want to counter the Ying, or do you want your team to counter the Ying?
I'm saying just...
Do you want to fend for yourself, Strat, or do you want to...
Yeah. For you as a player, Warden is objectively the best way to counter Ying. However, there's a multitude of other problems with Warden, which make him not necessarily the best counter to Ying. For instance, he's a 3-speed with a very small gun. So, you know.
Yeah.
Warden things.
Oh, actually, sorry, good point that our observer brought up too. If he positions the Ying grenade properly too, he could actually burn out the ADS entirely, and then still get almost the same effect that the Ying would have had in the first place. So, yeah, you're right. Actually, Warden would have been the better pick in the end. It's one of those you just hate to see it happen, you know?
Oh yeah, because if you're on the connector and you charge it and place it on the window, it will burn out the ADS. Because I believe it does have 4 things when once you it has 4 when full
it goes
charge
through the window.
Right, and then it will burn out the ADS. Oh no.
Yeah, you hate to see that type of thing happen, but unfortunately, we will be seeing the Ying gonna be able to make in some plays here with them 4 Candelas, and also looks like CJ and I believe that was one more on top of the garage rafters. Ooh, the upside down rappel on that doorway. You don't see that often, and you know what? You might actually get someone off guard as CJ taking some shots, and ooh, the C4 though gonna take down Mod and stop him from being able to throw any Ying grenades. Really unfortunate. Oh, the head! Well, Menti doesn't manage to catch the head, unfortunately, just being a slight bit off. Looks like J-Man will go untagged in that corner there, just waiting his time out, knowing that the wall's open. All he has to do is just watch the wall, focus on the wall part while he has his teammate watch the doorway.
Yeah, now he's kind of pinned in that corner, but since they are doing a two-man hold in garage, that makes it rather difficult for them to be able to push in, as we see Boomer here watching the stairs going up to site. And that Valkyrie cam finally taking out in that small section there. Santa checks downstairs to make sure that no one's flanking him, and both of those cams are out. So now we're in a particular situation that we're in a 4v5 with a little bit of health taken off of both teams here. And we got a minute 20 left with the cash wall open.
And the defense definitely sitting a lot more comfy here, as I think they do at least have around 2 to 3 nitro cells left to be lobbing through the wall. And oh my goodness, just barely missing the head of the Valkyrie as he peeks up the stairs, tries to get rid of the barbed wire, but clips onto the wall and gives himself a little bit of a stun there. As looks like J-Man caught the head of Lyrid as he was peeking through this lovely hole that he has crafted for himself. CJ trying to help J-Man just manage himself from above while just making sure no one comes to the doorway as Sabana tries to keep opening up holes. And oh my goodness, Santa gonna take him down and now leave J-Man in a lot more of a tricky situation, knowing that there's a push that could be coming in from any direction at any given moment. Barbed wire sounds getting broken up. Will he be able to push up before TK takes him down? But looks like Red will take down Jan first as Flashbang gets thrown into sight. It looks like the barrages, everyone gets stunned altogether. He walks through the window, gets taken down from the Red there, as Santa will find the head of J-Man there and start to walk up and take this pressure, as we're now down to a 1v3 for Santa. Left man standing. He needs to just walk in there, get the kills. 10 seconds left on the clock. First man he sees will take him down, however. Red getting that win for Michigan Tech.
Yeah, I think the critical point there was actually the C4 kill onto the Ying. Is that upside down rappel is actually rather powerful in cleaning out anyone who is up in the catwalk of garage. So the fact that the person who was delegated to that was immediately killed functionally for free, and also the massive utility of Ying being lost, is a huge deficit. As now we're moving to Gym Bedroom. Since when was Gym Bedroom the secondary site? Can you tell me when the meta shifted to let me know when that happened?
Honestly, I think it's just because of the setups that people are managing to bring here. Like we said before, that super long angle from Cash into Gym is such a good angle, because like if you want to plant on Gym and you focus heavily on the side of Gym and you leave alone Cash and you have like, someone with the ACOG or something being able to hold onto that side, you can actually pretty much stop anyone from doing anything on Gym from that angle. However, I don't think we've been seeing too much of it in the past, as we definitely been seeing a lot more action on the construction door side, so kind of allowing themselves to get a little bit hurt. It's just not as
attackers need to
compared to basement, it's kind of weird, because basement has some ability to retake, as we said before, retaking a lot more harder on this side compared, but at the same time, like, I don't know, it's a bit of a tricky one, just out of the raw format. Like, if you have the right setup, I do believe Gym Bedroom could be the more comfortable one. But, if you have a little bit of a weaker setup, then technically speaking, I think that the Church Arsenal would be a little bit more safer for someone to hold.
Yeah, but it looks like they're just trying to go for the slightly offside. Do we have a mirror? Yeah, we have a mirror. So it looks like the mirror will be holding a bathroom again, as Kaid will be getting that jacuzzi wall. And we'll see exactly how Santa does, choosing the AR over the LMG and how he'll... That's a rather interesting mirror window.
Yeah, it looks like what they're trying to do is just make it so that if anyone decides to enter logistics, they're actually trapped in there, as they castled off the door, reinforced off the walls, and even, for the hell of it, let's slap a mirror window on it as well to see if anyone actually does enter there and give us the vision. So that way, if someone does decide to enter into logistics, we didn't really just trap off all our intel, and we can at least get a little bit of vision going on. As we can see some drone work coming out, it looks like Santa might opt to drop down there, although with his utility, he will get stuck unless he goes with someone like Jan with the sledgehammer able to open up the walls for himself. Not sure if if it's too wise for him to opt to go this way. Looks like they will be opting instead to take the side of construction and Cash, as the setup from Michigan has left that side entirely bare, allowing Florida to get that side for free without any hassle.
Yep. As now we see a red dot site. Hot take, I say, in that particular case. As now we see, I believe Jacuzzi Wall was open, is nearly falling down hatch and then falling into hatches.
No, it's still up. It was that wall right there just got opened up. They're actually opening up the long distant angle sightline for themselves, which is actually a pretty favorable situation, especially when the side of the attackers defenders are just leaving it bare for himself. And as you see, Santa trapped himself inside logistics just by kind of dropping down that hatchway. Not really much they could do with that mirror window unless they decide to pop it and start firing some shots through. Looks like he will get freed eventually, though, from the Hibana opening up that rotate for themselves. Kind of creating an interesting sight line there. As looks like a little bit of sight running around there. Looks like we're gonna just drop into logistics, run into construction, try to push from the. Well, they'd be able to get some shots going back and forth and connect. Let's see, we got Red getting the shot into Jan there with the headshot, tracking from below. Down he will go as he tries to peek the doorway. Red still has his C4, could lob it over too, but he looks like he will get taken down from Menti as he pushes up from the side. And now we got CJ trying to walk up from behind, see if he could be able to get anything going, as well as the rest of the attackers just using this entire area to collect themselves and get intel as the rest of them start to push up from the construction.
Yeah, we're in a fortunate situation here. CJ manages to take out Modded. That Michigan is in a fortunate position here where even though they still have to retake the site, they do. Okay.
Hey, it just takes that hot second to just take in what he's looking at there. Lyrid doing some breakdancing, hugging that wall. 4 seconds left on the clock. Menti just got to clutch it out for his team, but he's not going to be able to. Too many alive, too little bit of time. J-Man and CJ just going to finish it off with the last couple of kills there, giving that round to Michigan Tech.
That was a rather hot take done by the injured Thermite there. I'd say it's the first time I've ever seen that one, and I've seen a lot of things.
Yeah, I think it partially has to do with like the way that you go down. Your body would initially set the legs to go forward, right? So, but if you as you adjust with the wall, it kind of adjusts them vertically, something like that. I can't remember how exactly it gets caused, but it's a rare bug. You don't really get to see it that often, and unfortunately, it also makes it ridiculously hard to revive, especially with the low counter, making Menti have to just walk in and see what he could get.
Yeah, I do believe that he was repelling right side up instead of doing upside down repel, and that's what caused the weird stuff. As now we're going finally to Church Arsenal. Valkyrie comes out here instead of a castle, maybe trying to show that they might be going back to Gym Bedroom again, as we get a Mozzie, Kaid, Legion, Jaeger, and Valkyrie, so 3 roamers, which is a rather interesting take here, or 3 potential roamers. And then on the attacker side, we have a Hibana, Jackal, Sledge, Thatcher, and Thermite. So we got some more frag grenades, and we got some smokes. I wonder if we'll actually see a smoke plant, as that's something that hasn't been done in aeons. A smoke plant, because Maestro is usually in play. So smoke plants usually are loot. Yeah, and C4s. And there's only 2 C4s, but they'll more likely be off site here. So we actually see a smoke plant go down, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and also want to point out too, Michigan Tech actually managed to pull off 2 rounds in a row on this site. So you can see definitely showing why they wanted to pick this map in the first place, showing they're a lot more of a better demonstration of their power on defense. And they really haven't on attack, because at this point they've won about the same amount of rounds on both. Really showing the comfort of why this game is defender-sided, and trying to take this back all the way now. They are definitely in a situation to do it, as we are on basement, where is pretty much one of those sites that you would go as a defender and have quite a bit of confidence on, because that's generally your secondary site, where we did go to the tertiary site from the round before, sorry. And Santa just walking up the strip club side, trying to see if he could spot some of the feet of the people who walked in, but it looks like nobody was going around peeping around that side, as he does catch a little bit of a light amount of footsteps. Looks like someone who probably reinforced the hatch. Drone's just coming out to try to help him out, try to figure out where he should be looking next. As you can see, just every drone around the area just immediately droning out everywhere. Looks like they're going for a lot more of a anchor-heavy site, which correct me if I'm wrong here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there we go, 5th right there from CJ. just being on the blue staircase area. So yeah, just a lot more of a anchor sided that we've been seeing throughout the season, as just so many nice angles to watch as anchor.
Yeah, I believe this is currently the only map rotation that I'm aware of where you can do a truly full anchor site.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate, because I know some of them you could, but like I would argue that you probably be more successful off of having at least one roamer in some cases. For this one, I would actually argue, you know what, having a full anchor team is probably more successful in terms of like, you know, your success rate and whatnot. So more statistics side.
Yeah, and I don't think they know that CJ's there, and CJ's likely going to be able to tag at least one here, is my suspicion.
Yeah.
Because
down goes Thatcher.
Yep, and that got the hatch open, as now they're suddenly wheeling in to try and find the Hibana here, and let's see who wins the gunfight, as Hibana is now retreating back to garage, and yep, CJ manages to tag a second. Oh boy, lad. And that was a very, very successful run, as he now drops hatch to go back downstairs. All three now are pushing towards bar side here, as Santa gets CJ on really low health, as now we're going to smoke out Moto and then get that wall open after it is smoked. And we're now trying to do a C4. Oh lordy! And that was a C4, unfortunately, because it didn't go through the hole. Oh no, that wall.
That would have been perfect too, because you can see the Thermite trying to set up for it. They would have been able to take him down, but they were managed to take down Red here, as Leard will catch the kill. Boomer gonna catch Santa. Leard catching down Boomer as well. Right back, TKLV hiding inside blue, trying to keep himself safe and use those holes that he has to be able to cover. Getting flashed by his teammate, however, gonna be able to push down into church. Gonna catch the Legion, downing him, and you'll be able to recognize that in time. J-Man gonna try to walk down the hall and be able to catch up with it, but Florida gonna catch him right before he can get anything going. Really good recognition to realize that he downed the Legion there, and then just peek the hallway and cover his teammate a lot better. Really good play from Florida there.
That was rather unfortunate, as it seems like it started as Michigan's round, because CJ got two fantastic picks. They didn't know where he was. They didn't drone him out. And he took a more aggressive stance, and that just didn't end up working out. I believe that Michigan likely would have won that round if that C4 got through the tiny hole that was made, because I do believe there was still room for that. But the take was good. The shift to be able to take behind bar was very, very good. And now we're in a 4v5 favoring Florida. And now we're going back up to CCTV cash.
And at this point, too, Florida feeling a lot more stronger after that. A bit of that momentum gain that they need here. Because, you know, we had Michigan Tech just take 2 rounds back-to-back. They're really going to... These rounds are going to really start to more matter, especially when they're on the side of attack where things aren't as favored for them. It's going to be a lot more pressure on them to be able to push through the defense here. And yeah, like you said before, they managed to make that comeback despite CJ just getting that beautiful flank there, making it look a lot more favored toward Michigan Tech, especially with just everyone being able to hold off on site after which, and just being able to hold off as much as they can, but unfortunately, they still have to win the gunfights.
Yep, and now we got the mute jammer right there on the drone holes that you can't drone in, but that doesn't mean that the good old... Well, frats can still come in, but they do not have a Zofia to be able to prevent any real particular tricking there in this particular case.
Ooh, looks like we're getting the round starting off. Some nice cams going off in lounge here, going to be able to stop any of the attackers from walking in too freely without being able to shoot them down first. Menti going to go for that same hole that he's been making throughout the game. Or sorry, actually that would be the other side of the attack, but yeah, going to be able to make that hole and be able to see if he can catch off possibly Red sipping up here instead of J-Man. And it looks like he's going to be playing more passively along the other side of the wall, so won't be able to get caught off that easily from that angle. As Leard going to immediately go for the wall, just try to Thermite breach it. Will J-Man get the trick? Yes, he will. That's 1 Thermite charge down and 1 Electric Claw down. A fair trade for the side of the defenders.
Yeah, now we're at an interesting point here, where it looks like someone's holding the angle and he might try and take it, where the ACOG at least originally was not actually on the catwalk, and now it's on the catwalk, and now I believe cache was open, and now as we're droning through site here, trying to get the lay of the land, it seems like they got a fairly reasonable one. Now that they have 2 out on catwalk, with Cash Door open, so they got him split in between the two, and the two on Catwalk are kind of stuck at this point, with a slight advantage going to Michigan here with a 1:30 left in the round.
And looks like we're gonna get some entry coming in from Santa. He will catch one. Can he catch the other one? Looks like he just backs up right into perfect timing, and down two of the defenders go, as we got one more left in the garage to hold. Now gonna have to have a little bit more stress on which angle he decides to peek onto, as CJ gonna try to retake back onto site after the loss of his fellow anchors.
Yeah, now we're in a 3v5 situation with a couple of pieces of low health, so it's definitely possible for Michigan to take it. They do know that one guy is still stuck out on Catwalk here. With 57 seconds left in the round, let's see exactly who gets it as he tags Jan, I believe, for a hot second, as Santa gets taken down here. So with the power of the SMG-11 coming in from a little bit closer range, as Lyra gets TVHM, Jan gets CJ. Now we're in a 1v4 as Mod gets Jen here.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. That was a quick take.
You gotta love the way that the Siege meta has grown, because, at first you would think, it's a first-person shooter. You always got, one person just running around and gunning and stuff like that. But, the way that the meta has just changed is just, at this point, once you start seeing the push getting made from the attackers, everyone's pushing at the same time. It's really hard to keep up with sometimes, just because of the amount of kills that get split across every single different attacker. And since it's just a one concise pinch onto those defenders left alive, they really have to keep their cool and keep those shots coming across, being able to react to everything they see and hear. And unfortunately, looks like Florida did manage to take the upper hand of that push, putting themselves into match point, and at this point, one round away from the semifinals.
Oh boy, this is definitely going different than I thought it would. I thought it wouldn't necessarily favor that, though. Foregoing the frag grenades, very interesting idea.
Yeah. I think that's actually a better trade here, especially because we're going to CCTV cache. It's going to allow the Buck to actually go below into stock, shoot straight up, and get pressure on this cache room itself, as well as potentially just getting rid of any Electric Claw and stuff like that, or that the Cade may try to set up. Although we still do have the Thatcher. I'm not used to seeing that operator every single day, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, just being able to pressure off the site from below is probably a really strong point on cache room. The only thing that he might have to worry about is we saw in the past rumors setting up cameras in stock room, looking for stuff like that, and potentially catching out anybody from being able to walk in freely. And also, relaying that information to the lovely people who are able to kind of go for a flank or capitalize off information like that.
Yeah, and now we see with 5 seconds left in the prep phase. Oh boy. And now we get to see exactly how Michigan's going to be able to do it, putting up a late mute jammer onto the drone hole, which incidentally I do believe tags that left-hand wall. Don't quote me on that. I think it does.
Yeah.
Or that right-hand wall I do believe is tagged slightly by the mute jammer.
Looks like we're going to get the first K charge thrown down. You're going to try to at least break it down so he has only one charge left. Although, however, Thatcher just so much better at stopping a K trick, really just opening up the wall for free there and making things a lot less expensive. Like K's deployment. Oh, actually, sorry, the Doc getting killed by Mod there, or Jan, one of the two. But yeah, the Doc K just making it so much harder to try to trick alone when there's a Thatcher on the board. Unfortunately, could not make it go through, as we have the floors just getting open up as Buck. And here it is. Oh my goodness, Thermite just going for aggressive peeks onto J-Man and actually winning out, as he didn't get hit once or got barely scratched. And J-Man, low health, gonna be very, very careful wherever he peeks now. Not gonna be too aggressive in the situation, as we got Lyrid and Menti trying to figure out how they want to breach open the garage to kill him out. But Mod just like, it's okay guys, I got this. Breach open that side of the wall, shoot him in the head. And now we got, you see here, Lyrid a little bit, 1 second late on the push here, opening up that wall, gonna catch himself some nice garage control as, ooh, TK trying to use that above holes to catch out the person playing below, as Red will take down Santa as well. At this point, just so much pressure on site. Red taking down Mod with the headshot, minute 20 seconds on the clock. Can they pull it off on a 3v3?
Yeah, it definitely seems significantly more viable, as the diffuser is right next to site. So if the diffuser guy gets taken down, they actually have pretty reasonable lines of sight here. So it's a matter of whether or not someone can flank all the way from bedroom here. And it looks like someone's going to be And they won't be able to try that here, as it looks like they got the person who's on catwalk walled off here.
Oh my goodness. Thank you here. Yeah, the plant attempts coming in from Lyrid. He looks like he's gonna get it. Jan getting down red, and it looks like the plant will get stuck here as Lyrid will get away free with that. TK and Boomer looking to finish this one out, but Boomer, last man standing, the only hope for his team to hit semifinals. Will he be able to pull this off on a 1v3 clutch? Flashbangs getting thrown out to pressure him from being able to walk on site. I don't think it's looking too great for him as all the flashy utility getting thrown out. He needs to kill those 3 people. 20 seconds left on that diffuser. He needs to keep pushing up, but it looks like the peak from Garage Window will win this for Florida International, putting themselves into semifinals and securing themselves that lovely slot.
Good job for Florida International here, pulling out this map in a 7-4. And yeah, just good on them. And considering it was the other team's map, that was a very, very good scoreline here. But it looks like they have a pretty reasonable spread. They're slightly top heavy here, but the points spread all the way through here, and being the support, doing the support stuff. But congratulations to Florida for getting to the semifinals, and also good job on Michigan Michigan Tech University for making it this far in the open rounds.
Yeah, big up to them. This is definitely an accomplishment to get this far into the tournament. Fortunately, it's the end of the road for them, as Florida will be able to move on further within the league. And really well played from Florida overall tonight. Just non-stop action on both sides. And we can see, hopefully get an interview with one of the players from Florida after that good display.
Yep. And now I'm very excited to see what next week's matchup will be. I don't have that on hand. But Florida has been doing a great job. The last time I viewed Florida, they also managed to pull out a 2-0. So I am very excited to see where they will go here and if they will end up making it to Invite League. Because they seem to be hot on their... They seem to be primed and ready for that particular instance.
I always love how you can always tell where someone's trying to go with something, and then they realize, wait, I can't say that on stream. I should probably curve around the other way.
Yeah.
Really, really well played from Florida. Really showing their strength, and definitely a very, very well-deserved match, as all their teammates just really firing on all cylinders, playing together, and actually just relaying a lot of information really well, being able to just catch off of those flings and whatnot, and also capitalize. Like, we saw a lot of patience come in from Jan, just sitting on that bar waiting for the entire enemy team to push forward for him to be able to get that nice flank. I think, however, on that situation, he ended up catching one of them in return. And it looks like, unfortunately, we won't be catching an interview at this time, as Florida, unfortunately, has a little bit of a busy schedule. Finals coming up soon and whatnot for America, I believe. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit unaware about where the schedule for you
Finals
guys
is
are.
nowhere near close for America, as most everything got delayed a hot minute.
Actually? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're a weird school, so we do quarters, but mine are like the second week of May.
Yeah, as context, in Canada, we're pretty much done for the year. So
Shush, we're normally done by now anyway. But
yeah, unfortunately,
Plague
won't be getting the interview tonight from Florida. But I think they will definitely want to say big ups to their opponents, Michigan Tech, for bringing it full force on them. Of course, as well, thank you to our sponsors as well. Can't forget them. The lovely CORSAIR, bringing in all the keyboards and mice into giveaways and into our prize pool as well.
Prize support, yes.
Yeah, always love to see that extra bonus in the prize pool, because, you always see money. It's like, okay, yeah, good, we got some incentive to go. We want to keep playing because we want to get that money. But then you also see, wait, I get a keyboard too? That's like, that's a physical object you could carry around like a trophy at the end of the point.
That means I got one for my laptop and one for my desktop. Come on, guys.
Yeah. And then everyone's be like, look at you. It's like, oh, why'd you buy the RGB keyboard? It's like, I want it. And then you can carry that pride all the way through. Thank you,
This is
CORSAIR.
my own swag, sir or madam.
Oh, yeah. And also, what's new? Bringing in our merch, allowing us to sell nice, lovely clothing. Honestly, I'm probably in August going to purchase myself a nice pair of pants, as well as get myself a mouse pad, probably, because my mouse pad could definitely use a nice replacing, as it has gotten not in the greatest condition. And
yeah.
last but not least, Rogue Energy, keeping us all energized and giving us 10% off whenever we use the code CEA, giving us that nice energy drink. Really heard a lot of good things from it, fortunately, and hope that sometime you get to try it at some point. And of course, thank you to our lovely observer, Kaiser, coming out tonight, giving us these nice angles and nice camera work, as well as Koyman for co-casting.
You're very welcome, and this was definitely very, very fun to do.
Oh yeah, and of course, my correct. Sorry, it. Wait, what do you mean? It's like laser with the K. Am I not? Apologies if I pronounced it wrong.
Kaiser, it's long A.
Oh, Kaiser. My bad, sir.
Umlaut.
And yeah, of course, thank you all for coming out tonight. I hope you all have a good night and good luck studying for whichever midterm or final you may have in the future. Good night.
Good night, all.